everybody. Welcome to Big Dumb Monsters. I'm Nick, and Chris isn't here. I'm recording the intro from the editing suite, if you will. We had a great show. We have a great show. We were watching Trick or Treat. Special guest Ryan J. Murphy from Your Horror Show. If you are into horror audio dramas, you definitely need to check out that show. We had a little bit of a technical hiccup in this episode. Chris and I sound doubled. It was like a weird echoey effect. Arthur sounds great. Ryan sounds great. The episode is definitely listenable. And there's a lot of really great stuff in it. Fantastic guest this week. Probably my favorite guest. Yeah, great stuff. Just get through the weird echoey sound effect, and there's a great episode in here. So we sort of watch Trick or Treat and review it. Mostly talk about everything else as per usual. Big Dumb Monsters, talking about Trick or Treat.
It's a perfect night for mystery and horror. The air itself is filled with monsters.
The comedy of errors that is our tech setup continues, folks.
That's all good. No worries. No worries.
There we go.
Not to
Gotta
shoot my
do
own
it.
horn, but I can imagine how bad this would be if you didn't have a third set of hands just to click things.
It'd be the worst.
Yeah. No, it would be video of us like scrambling right now, like looking at the camera, really puzzled. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I'm off it. I didn't see that.
I don't think we would ever have a video interview. Ever.
But no, thank you so much for joining us, man. Tonight we have Ryan J. Murphy of the Your Horror Show podcast. Yeah. I'm almost caught up. I'm like 2 episodes behind. I'm digging it.
I thank you so much, guys, for allowing me to be here. Chris, Nick, you guys' podcast I enjoy as well. I've listened to. I don't know who I was talking to on the IG, but I was saying I'd already listened to at least 3 to 4 of the episodes. And I appreciate you guys shouting the program out when you guys did, and appreciate being here and talking awesome fucking horror movies.
Hell yeah. That was mostly me, by the way, on Instagram.
Yeah, it was me at first, and then I was out of town the last couple of days, and Nick picked up the slack for me.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I was actually the one that shouted you out.
Do we have a link to? I was gonna say, do we have a link to share this? Because I'll reshare this on my IG right now too. If you guys want to send me a,
you can share our Instagram, our Twitch channel.
Twitch.tv/BigDumbMonsters.
cool.
Yeah,
cool.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, I found your show. I want to say it was a Reddit post.
Nice.
The show had,
on Reddit audio drama.
Yeah, the show hadn't come out yet.
Yeah.
And I saw your post there and went over to look at all the pictures and shit that you had posted on Instagram. And the art style is what dragged me in. It's just so good. Just that old school.
Yeah,
EC
I gotta
Comics
credit.
vibe.
I gotta credit my guy Ghostly, who does all the artwork for our show. He's a really fantastic artist. You can look him up at Ghostly Ink Company on IG and on his website. And he's just really amazing at getting the style right of that, like that EC Comics kind of 20s to 40s style. And,
it's so noir.
It's just awesome. And he just does such a great job of customizing every cover and making it feel kind of like a Tales from the Crypt kind of homage, which is like one of my favorite shows of all time. And
Same.
Yeah. We've talked about Tales from the Crypt a lot on this episode. We keep we have this fictional Patreon that one day we're actually going to make real. It's going to be like the best Patreon ever with all these different shows, but the one we keep talking about is the Tales from the Crypt show. Like we go down that rabbit hole for a long time.
Yeah.
It's funny, man. Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, I have the box set DVD set, which now feels like it's the. I mean, I think they're all on YouTube, but they're really poorest quality. But the show was just so awesome because of how many great, amazing guest stars they always had, and like the obviously the writing and just borrowing from the comics, and then the directors that they had, Zemeckis and
Richard Donner, yeah, like
Richard Donner, yeah, and then Arnold Schwarzenegger doing an episode, and yeah, I mean it's like a who's who of like just incredible talent working on that show, and but yeah, I don't know if we'll ever see it again, man. It's just mired in rights bullshit, and
Yeah, the
it's,
licensing
it's,
is
yeah, it's all the
swamp.
licensing stuff. One person controls the EC Comics, and then one person controls the Crypt Keeper, and then one person controls the show, and so Shyamalan tried to reboot it a couple of years ago, and he, I guess, got one of them on board, but he couldn't get the other people on board, and they all like hate each other. So I don't know
part
when
of that
we'll
was like
ever.
HBO didn't technically own it, right? The HBO just
Correct,
showed it.
exactly.
They had like
Yeah.
viewing rights.
Yeah, so it's a mess, and it sucks because I feel like if they rebooted it now and really did it the way the show was, it would be a smash hit again. Because I don't think we really. I like Creep Show. I think it's fine. It's I think it lacks the just kind of lacks the punch that like Tales from the Crypt had. I think having like a talkative host like the Crypt Keeper is just so essential for a show like that.
yeah, I think
And,
this is the thing it really pulls it together. Like I just for some reason I like on paper Creep Show I should love. I watched the first season and I just completely checked out.
Yeah, like I said, I've watched bits and pieces. Like you, I did watch the whole first season. Then I watched bits and pieces of second and the third. And I was like, it's fine. Yeah, it scratches like a certain itch if I want some anthology horror, but it's not my favorite thing. I thought Cabinet of Curiosities was really fun.
Yeah, it was really
some
good.
of the stories a little too long, but I thought that it was like a good overall production. And then Black Mirror for me is just it's like hit or miss. Like I either love it or I just hate the episode.
Yeah.
And those are kind of run a little long, but Tales from the Crypt was just like perfect, like that 25-minute little fucking thing, really high production quality, really fun, gory.
Yeah.
I really love that, and Twilight Zone's my other peak anthology series.
What did you think of the reboot of Twilight Zone?
I thought
it didn't do much for me, but
I thought it missed a massive opportunity to I think Peele was right on the money, a good person to like do that.
Mhm.
But I think that I was talking, it's funny enough, I was at a party last night and I was talking to somebody about this very thing. And I said, the major problem with the reboot of the Twilight Zone was the length. The original series, the episodes are 20 to 25 minutes. They work really well in those short little snaps. When you drag it out to 45 to an hour, it really just, you feel the weight of like where the episode's going, and you're like, yes, I understand, and this is going to be a twist and this person's going to get it.
Yeah, it's cut to the chase.
But you kind of you know the cliche already, rather than when it's like snappy, you get in and out, it can hit you a little bit harder and you're like, oh yeah, okay, cool, I like that. And so I thought that they missed opportunity with doing it that long. And I also just thought Peele was involved, but he really, really wasn't involved all that much. And I think that was a huge mistake. He needed to truly be involved in the show, I think, for it to really work.
Yeah, I think he was just like executive producer on that. So he
Yeah.
maybe had a little bit.
And then
of
obviously the
input, and then
host
yeah.
portion, but yeah.
You probably get asked this a lot, but what do you think is your favorite ep of Tales from the Crypt?
Oh my God, man. I'm not gonna lie. I get every Halloween season. I do watch the episode. I think it's called Only Skin Deep, and it's the episode where this guy goes to a Halloween party and he's like an abusive kind of like misogynistic asshole, and he's like goes there and he meets his ex who is like wants nothing to do with him, and then he meets this woman in the kitchen. And she's wearing like a corpse outfit, and he's like all into her, and she's like really weird and kinky. And they end up going back to this really dilapidated kind of odd place where they have sex, and he's like kind of still stays there, but he hears people coming in and out. And like the twist is that she is actually a corpse and that she's been murdering all these people. And like, it was just, it's so great to watch around Halloween, and the makeup effects on her, especially, just awesome. And then of course he makes like a grisly, awesome death at the end. So I always watch that one and I love it. And I think the other one I watch every year is an All Through the House, the Christmas episode, which I think is absolutely perfect.
That is a classic.
So that one is just so much fun.
For me, I'll say the I forget the title, but the Morton Downey Jr. episode where he's like,
oh yeah, that one's fantastic.
Yeah,
oh
that
that
one
one's
scared the hell out of me when I was a kid.
Is the haunted house one?
Yeah, he's like he has like a talk show, and
is
he's like going through the house with the camera, and he keeps catching all these like crazy things.
That one is honestly a classic as well. That's in the top 5. I love that episode too. That one's a really, really good one.
I think I gotta go with the again. I forget the title, but the Arnold Schwarzenegger one. With the
I love that one.
There and they wind up switching parts.
Oh yeah.
It's just
he's like continually getting better looking, but he keeps the same voice, and like it's so funny.
He winds up broke, and it's your classic morality tale twist, and that's just what makes it. That's what made Tales from the Crypt so good, is that it wasn't just gore and shitty for the sake of it. Like, it was trying to teach you a lesson at the same time.
Yeah.
Through the gore and the raunchy behavior.
I did also love the episode. It's called I think it's called what is it, like Only Something in Brass Hearses or something like that. But it's the episode with oh my god, why am I blanking on his name right now? He's been in so much stuff. It has Brad Dourif and oh my god, he was in Aliens. Game Over, man. Game Over. Why am I blanking?
Oh, Bill Paxton.
Bill Paxton. It has Bill. It has Bill. It has Bill Paxton and Brad Dourif in it, and they play like brothers, like kind of idiotic, stupid brothers, and that they like had a thing. They had a drug thing with this ice cream man who they end up killing, and it turns out he has a twin brother, and like they're like joined at the hip, and like it's really disgusting. I love that.
Yeah. I have seen that one.
Oh, it was another great one. Was the Bobcat Goldthwait Don Rickles one?
Yes.
Yeah. Where Don Rickles is like the famous ventriloquist, and like, Bobcat Goldthwait is jealous, and like, isn't he like
because he's got like the formed Siamese twin, right?
Yeah. He finds out like either his secret is like the dummy is like his Siamese twin.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was again, the episodes are so good when they're just like disgustingly gross, and they're like like you have those like you have, like you said, you have the morality tale, but you also have the horror aspect of it was so awesome because you really had those like very visceral, gory, awesome effects that they did in like all of those episodes.
Yeah, I feel like that it targeted 2 audiences. So like the gory stuff and the debauchery was for the kids.
The horror kids.
The horror kids who shouldn't have been watching it. And then like your more mature kind of message was in there for the adults to catch on to. So it made it more interesting the older you got, which is crazy how like a quote unquote like gory horror show can be so universal.
I couldn't agree more. I think that, I mean, growing up, it was, for me, and I felt like maybe as kids we had more access to anthology horror than we do now.
Oh, sure.
Definitely.
We had Tales from the Crypt. I remember watching at times. I remember watching Tales from the Dark Side, which I still think has one of the scariest intros of all time.
So good.
Yes. Monsters, I remember too.
Monsters, yep. I remember Are You Afraid of the Dark was like key gateway horror for me. I loved that show growing up.
100%.
Goosebumps.
Unfortunately, we had Freddy's Nightmares.
Yeah, Freddy's Nightmares. Yep. And
Friday the 13th, the series.
Oh,
Friday
that
the
was
13th,
bad too.
the series. We also had the remake of The Outer Limits. We also
Yes.
had that as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if you guys remember Erie, Indiana, which ran for like 1 season.
Yeah, it was on NBC.
Yeah, I have seen a few episodes of it, but I wasn't like I never knew it when it was live. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was one of those shows that it was odd, but again, it was like the anthology set in the town, but it was the same people. It was a little bit like ahead of the curve in the vein of doing an anthology that was centered still around main characters, but it wasn't, it was like obviously a new story happening in the town every time type of thing.
Right. I think going like way, way back, the thing that got me started on this kind of stuff was There's actually 2 shows, and it would have been In Search Of with Leonard Nimoy
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Yep.
and Unsolved Mysteries.
Oh, Unsolved Mysteries was great. Yeah, I mean, they brought it back, right? Didn't they do a remake
They
of that?
did.
They
and
did.
It's not as good because you don't have Robert Stack's voice scaring the absolute bejesus out of you.
Yeah, his voice really did sell it. It really did.
It really did.
I feel like also the remake, if I remember correctly, because I think I watched it, the music didn't really affect it as much as the original, where it was like
Yeah.
a cool synthy, like
Yeah.
it's cool synthy theme
Yep.
that was in there.
Like that.
Yeah.
We'll get more into the podcast a little later. We'll get to when we get to the crapshoot. We actually did pick a movie for this episode. So we should probably talk about the movie a little bit.
Actually, we didn't pick the movie,
That's right. Yeah, Ryan picked the movie for this episode.
which is funny because it was on our list. Like it was like
Yeah.
we were dead set on doing this. I think next week was the original.
No, last week we were.
That's right. It was last week.
We had to switch up the schedule a little bit, but yeah,
Yeah.
perfect timing. Yeah, no, we picked Ryan picked Trick or Treat. We were talking about this before we started recording. This is the second time I've seen this movie.
First for me.
Yeah, right. Nick said it's his first time seeing this movie.
Wow, this is your first time
First
seeing
time.
the movie?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm so excited. I am so excited. It is I'm not exaggerating. It is not only one of the best Halloween movies of all time. It is one of the best horror anthologies, like film anthologies of all time. I really do. I believe that. I think it's in the borderline top 3, for sure top 5. And it is just, it's so good. And
I love the
I'm
way it was
shocked
filmed.
we don't have a sequel to it yet.
Yeah,
I think they are working on it.
it's been they're working on it for a long time now. Yeah.
Well, it was funny because I went to a screening of it I live in Los Angeles, and so I went to a screening of it at what theater was it? I forgot. It was during Beyond Fest, and it was the main director, I'm blanking, director writer was there, and
Michael Dougherty.
people were asking him about it. What was that?
Michael Dougherty.
Michael Dougherty, yeah. He was there, super nice. Got a picture with him. Told him how much I love the film, and he was very appreciative towards everybody. And we were saying, people were asking when is there going to be a sequel, and he's like, "We'll see." Yeah, he's like, "I don't know." He's like, "It's been kind of trapped in development hell for a long time, and it's hard to get things greenlit." And he's like, "But it's screenings like these that hopefully show people that there's still an appetite to do another one." But I think he absolutely crushed this film, just crushed it.
Yeah, it's funny how this movie is actually mainstream and cult at the same time.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Like this is the most cult movie that you could possibly get.
but at the same time,
With a
you
major
can walk
audience.
into Hot Topic or even like probably
Walmart.
Target.
You can get Walmart
Yeah,
pop figures of Sam.
yeah.
It's crazy. it has become like a horror icon, which is insane because it was a direct to DVD. It never got like a theatrical run, and yet it's everywhere.
Yeah. And like as far as the quality, like it is really that good. Like we've been saying how good it is. Usually like in an anthology, there's always like one or two like weak links in like one of the stories. Everything here like clicks, everything works, and it all flows together like really perfectly.
Now, it's one of those perfect anthology films where what I love about it is that for me, the 2 rules of anthology have to be: you either need to have a host that connects the segments together in the world that you're playing in, or it needs to be like a town or a conceit, right? Like VHS does the idea that everything is VHS found footage, right? That's their conceit to tie all the anthology together. But with Trick or Treat, what I love about it so much is they use the town as like, oh, this is the setting, the backdrop, it's all on Halloween. But then Sam is kind of interwoven in all of the stories still, even if it's just very minor. And obviously he gets kind of his own story at the very end, and he's such a fun character that I think that they kind of did the thing perfectly of combining those 2 things in anthology and making it just work amazingly well. And then the amount of just incredible actors in this. I mean, it's just filled to the brim with talent.
The cast is really, really good. Even the people you don't know, their quality. Special effects, insanely good because it was
Practical, like
it was Greg Totopoulos.
okay.
And you watch, like the Underworld movies. He's the guy that did all the werewolves and stuff.
All right, yeah.
The way it was filmed and put together, like it almost doesn't feel like an anthology. It feels like you're just watching separate parts of a night, but you can really dissect it and put it into chunks. So there's this story, there's this story. Like you could separate all of this and watch 4 different short movies.
Yeah.
You'd be totally fine. But the way they interweave everything and it all connects at the end is just like classic filmmaking.
Well, it's like you guys said too. It's like it still touches on morality with almost every one of the tales too. So it's there's still a morality aspect throwing through it with the bus driver and the kids, and then you have the bus driver at the end, and then you have the serial killer dad, and then you have the the girls and the what are they becoming? Like I don't know. It's all just it's classic anthology done in a very smart, fun way, and like you guys said, that the effects work is fantastic, the cast work is fantastic, and it's one of those films that like it never got a wide release, and again that screening was completely sold out for Beyond Fest. Everybody knew it, and I think it's just really funny too. It's a fun movie, like in terms of it doesn't play it too serious. The gore is obviously serious, the kills are, but it's a fun movie as in, oh, this is funny, like I love these characters doing this stuff. Yeah, I don't know. It's a blast.
If you just look at it at the very surface level, which is totally fine to do too, it's tits and gore.
Yeah,
totally.
And that it works on that level. You go a little deeper, you get good acting, good filmmaking, all this stuff, and it works there too. Like you can't really knock it for what it's doing because it knows that it's kind of a popcorn movie, right? Like it's not trying to be overly serious, and it's not a downer. It's not like a depressing horror movie. It's fun. It knows that it's fun. It's light. And you can just kind of enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
Which it's not all that often you get a horror movie that rides that line between like, yes, it's a little dark, it's a little serious, but it's mostly fun. And fun is where a lot of people lose it. They'll go like overboard and get super cheesy, and it's not. It's just right.
Yeah, and I think again, I would argue it is one of the most perfect Halloween time viewing films. Like it is all about Halloween. The opening segment is all Halloween to the max.
Yeah.
And it's super fun, and then just the whole movie really just reeks of that spookiness. Like it's an every year watch for me. That's always one that no matter what, I will be watching it in October at some point, whether it's towards the end or the beginning or the middle. But every time I'm like, yep, trick or treat's happening.
You got to get one in. Yeah. It's like my wife is obsessed with the movie Hocus Pocus. And, as much as I, am completely burned out on it, you have to argue that it is an amazing Halloween themed movie. Like it's great in October. Also, this is produced by Bryan Singer. So that's like, also A+ stuff there. I was
going to say too, it's funny. It's funny you mentioned that about Halloween viewings of just certain things. It's funny when we move into October as horror fans. I feel like we move into a different field of like we want to watch things that are really specific to this month. Like certain things we save all year. I save The Thing all year for this month. I save like Trick or Treat all year for this month. Like you said, Hocus Pocus is one that people are going to watch this month. They're going to watch.
Halloween.
I watch like all the black and white Universal films this month. Like it's all about the atmosphere, right? I want like that spookiness prevailing throughout my entire viewing experience.
Yep. I actually, there are movies that I tend to watch more in October than any other time, which is exactly what you're saying. Like last night I sat down with my family and showed them The Thing, which
that's fucking weird.
Awesome.
You just mentioned The Thing, Ryan. You just mentioned The Thing. I also watched The Thing today.
Really?
Yeah. That's crazy.
It's a feature-length ad for J&B Scotch, and it's amazing. Yeah, my 9-year-old was a little freaked out. Like it might have been a hair too intense for him. Like when you get to the scene with like the dog, splitting apart and all, like the big gore effects.
Yeah,
he was hiding his eyes a little bit.
The whole thing holds up though so well.
Oh, so
it
good.
holds up so freaking well. Like it really is one of those.
It's the gold standard for practical effects.
It really is. It holds up so incredibly well. Like I watch it every time, and I'm just like, man, it's a great movie. Just a great movie. Like, yes, the practical effects, the gore, all that, but man, at the heart of it, just fucking awesome.
The story,
just a great film.
The stress and the paranoia and everything like that. It's no matter how many times you watch it, you're still gonna feel it.
100%. I couldn't agree more. I love it so much, and that's like I said, that's a spooky season watch no matter what. I recently rewatched Phantasm 2 as well. Hadn't seen that in a long time, and man, oh man, that movie fucking kicks. I love that movie so much.
Was 2 the one you couldn't find forever? It was 2 or 3.
Yes, yeah,
was it 2?
That's 2 is the one you can't find forever. I actually went to Amoeba and I found it and I bought it on DVD, and it is, dude, the practical effects in that are fucking awesome. So good.
I haven't seen that in a long time. I used to watch the first one a lot. Just Angus Scrimm as the tall man was just like the most fun, ridiculous villain ever.
Oh yeah, totally. Like I said, two for me is like, it's like Evil Dead 2 status, where they had way more money to make it, and so they made this bombastic, fucking crazy movie.
Yep.
And the effects work in it is so good. Like, it really blows kind of 1 out of the water in that range. So I think I prefer it to 1, honestly.
Bold, but understandable.
Yeah, it's great. It's fun.
In the spirit of being critical, looking at this movie with a critical eye, is there anything we can think of to ding this movie on?
There's always something to ding.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything off the top of my head. I really have to think of anything.
Yeah, I think the only thing for me, I think we get in this film, so we get werewolves in this movie, we get ghosts technically. They kind of throw a red herring with the vampire. We never really get a vampire in this film at all.
I did like that though. Like, you think you're getting a vampire, turns out just a serial killing principal.
Just his thing, his arc is really fun. But yeah, I think that's my only critique would be, and obviously, here's the thing. I feel like this would happen if there was ever a sequel to this, is they would do new kind of monsters for the second one. But that would be my only critique. I was like, I wish we got one more classic kind of monster in this. But it's hard for me to fault anything, because I think the segments themselves are just so good. And Sam, like the last segment with Sam, you would say like, well, you could replace him, and I'm like, yeah, but like his character's so fun and sadistic. Like, I don't think I want to.
Yeah. You know what? I do have one gripe. And my gripe is, I wish that the Brian Cox Sam segment was second to last. If they did that second to last, and then they did the werewolves as the final segment, I think it would have ended the movie a lot stronger.
Okay.
That's I can vibe with that.
Because you get to the end of the werewolf segment, and it's got a finality to it. It's got
it does wrap up the serial killer storyline. Like, yeah.
It's the only thing hanging is what happened to what's his name, Mr. Krieg, Brian Cox's character.
Yeah. Well, I do like that wraps up the puts a bow on the driver like mystery from the earlier on.
True.
Yeah.
I think that I guess the problem is that they're both very, very strong, but the werewolf girls just, I don't know, because it had like the Marilyn Manson song playing in it, and it felt really.
I mean, as far as set pieces, like that big, special effects of them all turning into werewolves.
Yeah,
that is kind of the finale. Yeah, I do see that point. Yeah.
And the effects work again is really great in that segment. Like, that's a great werewolf turning segment.
Yeah, just peeling their skin off, like that's amazing. Like, you really don't.
Yeah, there's not a ton of And I was funny because I was thinking about that the other day too, because I was just thinking about werewolf films, because I was at this party and they were watching Wolfman last night, and I was just thinking about werewolves, and I was like, man,
which Wolfman?
We really are devoid of like great werewolf stuff like lately. It feels like we're just, again, there's Ginger Snaps, there's Dog Soldiers, there's this film, there's the Wolfman, there's American Werewolf in London, The Howling, Bad Moon. There's a couple more, but if you really look at the plethora of great like monsters, the werewolf is just way underused.
Yeah,
in my mind.
I agree. What was the last good one that we got?
The last good one?
Art agrees, yeah.
Yeah, we have a resident werewolf expert over here as our producer.
Our producer, yeah.
Art, what was the last great werewolf movie?
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Great, like things that I
Well,
would
like-
write home about. You know,
You know, one that you were like, yeah, this is a great werewolf movie. Like, not a clumsy reboot or
so
just
Frank
a
Welker
partial.
pointed
I was
out
gonna
Werewolf
say
by Night,
I was gonna say the
miniseries.
Wolfman came out obviously with Del Toro, but that I did not. It was so stodgy. That entire and the werewolf effects were so bad in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I will agree. Werewolf by Night I thought was awesome. That was
Yeah.
really, really awesome. Like, it just really captured that retro vibe. Like, you get the retro looking wolf.
I still haven't watched it.
Oh, dude.
I know. I'm terrible.
It's the perfect time. I would recommend the black and white version over the color version.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah.
I would agree. I saw that. I saw Werewolf by Night at Beyond Fest as well, and Giacchino was there talking about it, and the black and white version is killer. I actually really love that. I honestly, I wish Marvel did more of those one-offs than series. Like, just do those one-offs. Those one-offs were so, like, do an hour, do something fun like that, just throw it away. It doesn't have any ties to the larger universe, and it was fun. So
We need more bold choices with horror movies. We need a movie in black and white. We need, like, we don't need any more elevated horror because that's getting really old and tired. So, like, you know, Ari Aster needs to just kind of put it away for a minute.
After Bo is afraid, like, we're good for a
are
little
you
while,
guys
man.
saying that you don't want any more horror films about trauma? Are you guys saying that?
Yeah, I don't need any more trauma or naked old people. I've reached my limit.
I'm kind of done with allegory at this point. I'm good.
It was a good, raw, visceral, like, monster movie, yeah.
What we don't really get anymore is just like suspense and being stressed out at watching a movie. And I'm trying to think of the last one that really worked like that. Last
That's
Voyage
what
of
you
Demeter,
mean,
yeah.
I thought that movie was unfairly shit on this year when it came
Absolutely.
out.
Yeah, that's that. I mean, it's funny that I'm thinking about this year and last year. I mean, Cobwebs, kind of.
I
feel
haven't
like that
seen
was
it yet. I
kind of-
heard it's really good.
Yeah, see that's kind of. I feel like that's more in the vein of what I would like. It's really tough because I feel like we're in this zone where people believe that you have to have horror mean something more than just, man, this is really fun and like kind of like it's gonna scare me. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's just times where I'm like, I don't know if we need anything else. Like, I'm not sure. Like, don't get me wrong. I love Get Out. I love Hereditary. I like Hereditary so much more than Midsommar. But there's
I
some of those
agree. I
films
don't like
that
either one.
yeah, but there's some of those films that I like, but I'm like, why does everything need to be a comment on trauma at this point? I just don't understand.
Yeah.
Like, why does it have to be? Why can't this be? Hey, this is fun. This is
Yeah.
there's a fucking monster. And yes,
Get back to basics. Like,
Yeah, like that's why The Void worked so well for me, because it was, I mean, you take kind of the golden formula that The Thing had, make it a little more modern, get rid of some of the paranoia because you don't really need it in that movie, and then just ramp up the monster stuff. Like, it worked. It worked so well.
yeah.
Like-
The Void has some insanely good practical effects as well. I mean, like
Oh,
that
yeah.
has some really great kind of cosmic, weird practical effects that I thought worked really, really good in that film. I thought, and honestly, I mean, even though Mandy was a very slow burn, I thought Mandy was a great, like, kind of horror movie though, about like, yes, it is obviously something traumatic happens to him, but it's very, I love the shooting of it in the vein of it felt still like pulpy, noirish, culty, like kind of like from 70s,
movie
80s.
It was
type
also
stuff.
psychotic.
Yeah, it made me feel
Psychotic. I
so
mean,
uncomfortable.
the last half hour of that 40 minutes are just insane. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that you can kind of trace some of the roots of like that all the way back to movies like I Spit on Your Grave and Last House on the Left, where it's all like there was a category called rape exploitation, which was like the most traumatic thing that you could do, and then add a revenge story with grisly special effects to it, and then you had a grindhouse cinema movie. You don't really get grindhouse anymore.
Oh, I know. I went and saw it was whatever the anniversary of Grindhouse at the New Bev. and they had the death-proof car outside, which
really?
was so
Nice.
freaking cool. And I mean that film just rocks, dude. I mean, I remember seeing Grindhouse in the theater and seeing all the trailers that they had
Same.
for it. It
That,
was so
that
much
was an
fun.
awesome experience.
That was so much fun. And again, it's like I would love more of those things back for
Well,
us as horror fans, because I feel
Thanksgiving
like that's like
is going to be a thing. Is it? Thanksgiving?
yeah, we'll see if that's
The Eli
good
Roth
or
one,
not. The Eli Roth one. Yeah, I'll be curious to see if that's good or not. So
It probably won't be, but it should be at least entertaining. You know, like Hostel. Was it a great movie? No. Was it entertaining?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, if you're a gore hound, you know, if you're more of a civilized kind of person, then it's definitely not up your alley. But I've always loved, you know, like let's take it to the extreme. Let's see how far we can push it, and all that kind of stuff.
yeah. And I was reading the chat here, and I saw Frank Welker, Wonder Hour, said the werewolf bit in Waxwork was good, and I forgot about Waxwork. Waxwork is underrated and fucking great.
I don't know that I've seen one.
Yeah, same here. I've never seen it.
So much fun. Yeah, it's they go into this this wax museum that has all these weird little like kind of like portraits of various scenes, and so one of them goes into like a Dracula world, and one of them goes into like a werewolf. It's really fun. Yeah,
Oh, nice.
It's
Yeah, I gotta
definitely
watch
worth it.
that.
I think it's I
Horror
want to say
Super Mario
early
64?
80s, early to mid 80s.
All right. I think we can throw some ratings on this.
All right. Yeah, we'll get back to the movie we were originally talking about. Trick or Treat. All right, I'll start. If I have to rate this
Yeah, as a first time viewer.
as a first time view, I had so much fun watching this thing. This is like it's like an 8.5 because it knows exactly what it is and it achieves it so well. Like it's not trying to be something it's not. It knows exactly what it's going for, and it executes perfectly. Like I said, I would switch a couple of segments around, but other than that, it's fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna go high as well on this one. Again, this is my second time watching this. I like remembered things, but I forgot a lot of important things, and even on my second viewing was like surprised by things. Like, you know, I still enjoyed the whole thing start to finish. I am going like 9 on this because like it's super fun. The effects are top notch, and
Yeah.
this is the thing we talk about a lot.
Where it uses CG is just to enhance. It's not the main focus.
Yeah, it's how CGI should be used. We talk about like the party movie a lot. Like, can you watch this with a lot of people? Like, and it's usually like a shitty movie that you can watch with a lot of people.
Yeah, you roast it. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is a rare, like, no, this is an awesome movie, and you can watch it with a lot of people, like at a party, and still enjoy it. So yeah, I'm standing by that 9.
Yeah, I mean, I will not lie. I would consider this a 9.5 or a 10 for me. I mean, I think this is a slam just out of the park. One of the great Halloween films of all time. If we're basing our ratings too on just anthology films as well, it has to be high. There's just no other way about it. It's one of the great anthology horror films of all time. It ranks right up there with Creepshow. It ranks right up there with the best of them. And the fact too that just the way that every segment, like you said, is just strong. There's not a point where I'm like, this segment sucks, I'm going to skip it. I'm like, no, I like the whole thing. The acting's fantastic. You've got everything you want. It's fun. And like you guys said, you can put this on at a party. Everyone will be like, oh yeah, I love this scene. This scene's super fun. And it really walks that delicate balance of, like you guys said, taking itself just seriously enough to have good scares, but not so serious that you can't laugh along with it as it's having fun with its own segments, which I think is what you need for anthology films like this.
Yeah, it's like we're watching it right now, and we're getting to the part where, you know, the dad is gonna cut the jack-o'-lantern with the sun, and it's Thurman Merman's head down here.
From Bad Santa, and you're not sure if he's gonna kill the kid.
Yeah, you think like, oh, he just killed his kid because he hates him. No, he's turning him into a serial killer too.
Well, and I love that. I just love that whole scene where he's outside and he's like, "Okay, I'll be in a second," and he's like killing
stomping the kid out. Yeah,
yeah, it's so funny. I mean, like, it's such awesome dark humor, and then having the guy outside, like, "What the hell are you doing out there?" Like, like yelling at him before we go to his segment later on. It's great.
yeah. It's like it's a different kind of black humor. Like this is legitimately funny at times. But then you've got a movie where Chris gave it a 10 is American Werewolf in London.
Yeah. I mean, that's a classic.
That has so much humor, but it's like buried under the seriousness. So it's like a completely different ratio of scare to funny, and that works so well too. And it's not like blatantly a comedy movie, but you had John Landis directing it, so it had to have a little bit of goofiness to it, like Nazi werewolves or whatever the hell they were. Like,
I love that scene so much. That scene is so good.
As goofy as it is, it's horrifying. Terrifying. Yeah.
Yeah, the way that they're just coming in and they're like shooting everybody, and like, I love that scene. That scene is great.
That blood curdling shriek.
And I think what it was is he buried the funny under the scare, where this is more the funny is alongside the scare, but the ratio is still right. It's more scare than funny. So it just nails it.
I see Frank Welker in the chat says, "I've never seen American Werewolf in London." Dude, do yourself a favor and watch that tonight. Seriously.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
I am jealous that you get to watch that for the first time.
Yeah, no, it's funny when people say that, like, I've never seen so and so. I'm like, dude, I am jealous for you, because if I can go back in time and watch this for the first time, I totally would, and I just loved it so much. So.
Yeah,
I think there are movies that I would love to go back and see for a first time as an adult, but there are things that I saw the first time as a kid, which made me appreciate them way more. Like, it started my obsession with Hellraiser, because like if you go back and watch Hellraiser now, it's good. It's definitely good. It's still one of my favorite movies, just more for sentimental reasons. But when you're 4 years old and you watch that fucking thing, it's the greatest thing you've ever seen in your life.
The Hellraiser is one of those, I mean, absolute just bangers of a movie in terms of like the way the practical effects meld and just like that.
Yes.
I'm not exaggerating when I say it probably opened a lot of people's sexuality in terms of their sadomasochism.
Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, oh, I want to kill some people and have sex.
It's like it's a kinky BDSM, like leather daddy horror movie, because that's what Clive Barker was into.
Yeah, and it was that film is just, and it's so funny because the Cenobites are like rarely in that film too, which is so funny.
I think they've got about 10 minutes of film time.
Yeah. I mean, they're only really central in like the last 30-40 minutes of the movie, and so it's just I love Hellraiser so much, and I think the biggest mistake of that franchise was not allowing Julia to continue to be the main villain, because she really is like the central antagonist of that whole series, and she's so good.
Yeah, well, people think Hellraiser, they think the Cenobites, and like you said, like they're only in it a couple of minutes at the end because they're the consequence.
They're the comeuppance. Yeah.
Julia is the villain. Like Frank is the villain. Like you see them in their relationship, and like they're the bad guy. She's a goddamn serial killer in this movie.
Totally.
You never think about that. Like she's murdering people with a fucking claw hammer.
And honestly, I think the second one is it's not as good as the first, but it's very solid. I actually really love the second one as well.
Once they move on to the third, they lose the goods. Everything starts to become too clean. Like the first two Hellraisers, the makeup effects make everybody look dead and dirty and gross, and the more the movies go on, the cleaner and like brighter everything becomes, and it's just not the vibe.
Nah. Agreed.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more.
All right. So with that, we get out of our review phase. We move on to the trivia. And as soon as I open it up on my phone, we'll go through it. Nope, not IMDb. I don't.
You get there.
I'll get there. I'm nervous. Leave me alone. All right.
Not to bother you with trivia.
I used to think they were kind trivia.
The kid with the lollipop in his mouth who peeks in on the girls' changing room when they're trying on the Halloween costumes is Quinn Lord, who plays Sam throughout the rest of the movie. I don't know if that's in your segment,
It
but
is.
I stole your thunder.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's fucking cool. I love that.
Yeah, I love that they had a little kid
Actually
as Sam.
play it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
do it. Yeah.
That's really fun.
The performers under the masks playing the kids on the school bus all have real disabilities or injuries. They apparently had a blast during the shoot. Their costumes were inspired by a mix of photos from Ralph Meatyard and Diane Arbus capturing real mentally disabled children on Halloween in their homemade costumes. Which, like, that's
nice.
Deep cut trivia.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I have actually seen some of those photos, and they're in those, like, you know, like, darkest photos from history kind of things. It's all, like, black and white photos of kids making Halloween costumes, and they look terrifying.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, that's awesome. I actually didn't know that either, that they were actually kids with disabilities. That's super cool. I love that.
Yeah, I like it. You know, instead of, you know, the easy route would be find kids with SAG cards and put them in the movie and then have them pretend to be, you know, mentally handicapped kids or whatever. That's easy. Do the work. Get it done legit. I like that.
Yeah, that's very cool. That's very cool.
Let's see here. The fight scene between Sam and Krieg involved an 8-year-old stunt performer as well as an adult stunt woman.
An 8-year-old stunt. How do you become an 8-year-old stunt man?
I have no idea.
That's a huge missed opportunity in my life. I'm very
Someone
upset.
just Jackie Channing their way through life at 8 years old.
Yeah, I imagine the insurance policy of that movie is like astronomical.
Stuntman's 8. He smokes and has an ex-wife.
He's just drinking like Coors on the set.
Yeah.
I work 80 hours a motherfucking day.
Yeah. Right after this, I'm doing the Time Bandits reboot. Yeah.
Oh God.
Oh man.
Oh Jesus. They couldn't use any recognizable candy wrappers because all the candy in the film is either poisoned or filled with razor blades, and they had to create their own instead, which, quote unquote, which was kind of fun because we came up with stuff like Big Fudge Log, Doherty revealed.
That's an example of somebody having fun with their job. Like,
Right.
yeah.
And you really can't even read any of the candy wrappers, but I bet there's some obscene ones.
Big fudge log. I like. Yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
like a delicious candy.
I'd try one. I would try it once.
Yeah, you'll have a big fudge log after you eat that too. So, yeah.
Let's see here. This is really interesting. I always like to find facts like this. The blood used to show Emma's demise. She was the first victim. She was taking down all the.
Oh yeah, Leslie Bibb.
The blood used to show Emma's demise beneath the sheet was boiled right before filming so it would steam. Which I didn't even notice on the first watch through, but we got it on now, and I was looking for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works.
Huh.
Like it's really noticeable when you know to look for it.
Interesting.
I love this shot of Sam in the flashback.
Oh yeah,
He's just still there, like
with the crow.
yeah.
Yeah, the scene was shot well too. Like all of it was shot well. Like, but it's so scenic, and it's got that amber color to everything.
Yeah.
Damn it, so good. There is a voice cameo from James Marsden on the TV talking about the history of Halloween candy.
Oh, all right.
Was that in your segment?
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
Ah, gotcha.
Okay. I know. I remember hearing that. I know that segment, but I didn't know that was Marsden. That's funny.
Yeah, we got some Cyclops action here. Which, yeah, like I assume that was a Bryan Singer grab
Probably,
that
yeah,
had
yeah.
me- yeah.
because he did the first couple X-Men movies, right?
It's not the only Bryan Singer grab, if you believe the rumors.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Brian Cox wore a wig and prosthetics because he wanted to look like John Carpenter.
That tracks so hard that's perfectly exactly and he plays like an old curmudgeon, which we all know John Carpenter is at this point, which is perfect.
For sure. He's the grumpiest dude, but loves he loves talking to people and being grumpy about it.
And hating people.
Yeah.
I mean, I can totally get it, man. He has probably the greatest horror filmography of all time. And in his time period, he really wasn't very successful. It really sucks. And so I can understand like him being bitter about kind of all of that. And yet when you look at his filmography, you're like banger, 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 banger.
They all caught
like,
on the back end.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would. Yeah, he's very similar to Cronenberg like that. Like, Cronenberg would have things that would hit kind of big, but everything that really worked well after it was out of the theaters. You know, like, I can't imagine Videodrome was really drawn in the box office.
It's like I mean, The Fly is one of the greatest remakes of all time, but even then, I mean, it did well, but it wasn't like some like just smashing box office success.
Yeah,
now,
it did well enough to get a sequel.
Think about The Thing. That got shit on when it came out.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Completely shit on. Yeah.
Which is insane. Like, insane to think about. I don't think Halloween got great reviews either. Like, I think it was.
It did get good reviews, but it made so much money. So, it was that was the key there. It
what
made
they call
a ton of
like
money.
critical failure.
I mean, I was going to say, look at Christine. Look at I mean, God. I mean, even in the '90s, you had In the Mouth of Madness.
Oh, that movie is
like, I mean,
perfect. That is a perfect horror movie.
Just a home run. So yeah, I mean, again, he and in the later years, his films kind of fell off because I look at what's it called? What is Mars?
Ghosts of Mars.
Ghosts of Mars was just so bleh.
Yeah, that's a perfect
and
word
the later
for it.
ones were so mad, but man, he had that string. I mean, you have Prince of Darkness, Christine. I mean, even The Fog. I mean, all of those they're great.
Yeah, he's just a staple. Like, he's on the Mount Rushmore of horror directors. He has to be, right?
Like, I can get the bitterness. I can get it.
Yeah. All right, let's move on here. We got 3 more here. Every single death in the movie occurs off camera. The deaths are either obstructed by something or the camera cuts away right before the character dies. This is a rare feat for a horror film.
Huh.
Donner agrees.
Yeah, Donner's totally in agreement. Hey, buddy. Thank you, pal.
Yeah. I like in the chat, by the way, that someone's like, E.T. sucked ass, and I'm like, yeah, kind of did.
First, Frank Welker Wonder I was pointing out that E.T. is what people wanted back then, and I said, no.
Yeah.
That's when River 12, whom I don't recognize. Donner!
You're being a butt.
You get one final one in.
Yeah. I never liked E.T. Like, it would be on when I was a kid.
I mean, I saw it in the theater when I was a kid. Like, it was cool then when I was like 4.
It was like a cultural phenomenon, right?
Yeah.
Like,
but like trying to watch it now is like fucking.
It's bad.
Damn. Yeah, it's a labor, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't love Spielberg the way a lot of people do. I get it. Like,
yeah,
he's awesome.
He's got some all-time classics. Yeah.
But not all of them.
Fucking what's the AI? Oh Christ!
Yeah, I'm good there.
Yeah, I mean that's hard to. I mean, look, you got one of the great monster movies in Jaws. You got him helping extensively with Poltergeist, which is one of the great ghost movies of all time. And in the horror sphere, he just hasn't really done as much. I mean, and Jurassic Park 1 is as a bona fide classic.
Yeah.
100%. But it's all the in-between stuff that's just like middling. Let's see here. The candy bar that Sam uses to attack the old man is the same candy bar he got from the principal earlier in the movie. The principal put razor blades in the chocolate bars he handed out. Which is why the man was cut with a candy bar. I like that that's a nod to Pet Sematary.
I knew that one. That one's just a great callback.
Yeah, he slashes the back of his ankle. Yeah. Oh god, they grossed me out in Pet Sematary.
Yeah.
It's even grosser somehow in this movie.
I think what kind of like the worst one of those was in Hostel, where he cuts it and then you see him try to walk on it real quick, and it separates.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Oh boy, that's nasty.
Yeah, it was almost as bad as watching Aaron Rodgers do it almost for real.
Yeah. I
Like
still can't watch the Joe Theismann video.
Who took him out?
What's that?
Who took Joe Theismann out?
Oh, Lawrence Taylor.
Lawrence Taylor, yeah, LT, yeah.
I mean, that's
Linebacker.
almost as bad as the Nick Chubb thing this season. Oh my god, that was brutal too.
Yeah. Yeah, watching somebody's foot spin around the wrong way is always just so entertaining.
Yeah, no.
I love it, and they show it in slow motion and repeat, like they did with Dak Prescott last year. Love it. Let's watch this over and over again. All right, we are on to our final IMDb trivia fact here. All the werewolves in this film were created by Totopoulos Studios, the same studio that brought you Lycans in the Underworld trilogy, which I am repeating because I said that earlier. So,
wow.
Since I'm not on camera,
What's your
I'll let you
guys'
know I'm rubbing
What's
my
your guys'
nipples.
status on Underworld? Because I think the first film is definitely passable. I think the rest of them are not great.
it's diminishing returns. The further you go in, the less you like it.
Yeah, I agree.
It's been so long since I've seen the first one of those movies, and at the time, I just remember being like,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's, it's got that vibe of Blade and The Matrix and all that, the flashy, like, fucking Resident Evil-y kind of stuff, and then just apply it to a horror movie.
Yeah.
Which, the first one works because it's pretty unique, but it's only going to carry you so far.
Yeah, it was. I remember watching that in the theaters and be like, "Oh, this is fun. It's got kind of an action thing," but it just the scares weren't there. And then again, the werewolfness of those monsters, it just when we got into CGI werewolves, it really just diminishes what these things are and like kind of like wanting to experience it because they just don't look real. And you're like, if it's not real, I don't give a shit. So
Funny enough, those are actual practical effects werewolves.
really,
In the first one,
or for all of
they
them?
are.
Okay. Okay, that's what
I can't tell you about the
okay.
second one.
Yeah, that's what I thought. In the first one, I think that they look passable, and then after that, it gets rough. So
Yeah, I didn't love their transformation. It just there are certain werewolf transformation scenes that are iconic. I mean, obviously, American Werewolf in London.
Yeah.
Is the watermark.
It's the gold standard. Yeah.
I would argue the Howling is right there, though.
I hate the Howling.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I think
like
it's right
you.
there.
I don't know. I don't know what it is about it. Like,
Yeah, I don't know if it's. I watched it when I was like older. I don't have like the nostalgia factor. I don't like that movie. Like
I
as much
love the transformation scene in this. I love watching them
and Trick or Treat,
deliberately
it's
rip
great.
their skin off and just
Yeah, I love that too.
I
yeah.
told you before, I like the bursting out werewolves.
Yeah.
Yeah, instead of the slow, like, I'm just going to turn into one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sloughing skin adds
Yeah,
to the
like
gore
ripping
element.
skin off. Like
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I guess the grislier transformations just do it for me. Again,
As they should for a
watching
werewolf
Hellraiser at 4 years old to do that for a person.
But yeah, I mean, in terms of just making it look painful and realistic, like American Werewolf, like to this day has not been beat, man. Like,
No.
yeah,
Yeah, when he's like on the ground and it's like his legs are like breaking out, like, and it's like
Yeah.
his whole body's
yeah, like the bones cracking and
contorting,
stuff. Like, oh,
Yeah, it's
it's
Frank
awesome.
Welker said
It's
no
awesome.
spoilers to the movie that came out in like 1985.
One?
Really? I thought it was-
sorry, we spoiled that somebody turns into a werewolf in American Werewolf in London.
yeah,
Yeah,
the most infamously amazing transformation scene.
Yeah, 81. I don't know why.
Was it anyone?
You were right.
I was right. I love
I've
that.
been drinking. I don't know.
oh, hey, we're on to the next segment, aren't we?
Yeah, we are on to Better Known As, where we play some music.
I know you. I knew you. I knew.
Step on the clips.
I didn't know if we were using the stingers.
You.
You know what? I don't know. They
It's
probably
fine.
can't hear him. I had to turn that mic down anyway. You guys were echoey. I got feedback.
Yeah, we'll move on next to the better known as segment. We will start off, of course, with director Michael Dougherty. He is probably, most well known for probably this movie, or of course Godzilla, King of the Monsters.
Fucking Krampus.
Yep.
Yeah, well, we've talked
And
about Krampus
Krampus.
on the show.
Yeah.
But
Krampus
King of the
is great.
Monsters, man, I loved that movie.
Yeah. That's
King of the Monsters was a lot of fun.
It's like 9 times better than Godzilla vs. Kong.
Yeah,
Like roughly 9 times.
that's a very specific amount.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me that he doesn't work more, because he really, I feel like every time he's either directing or writing something, it's a banger. Like again, Krampus, very good, solid Christmas horror movie. Trick or Treat, fantastic Halloween movie. Godzilla, great monster movie. It's a shame he doesn't work more than he does.
I think the problem is like the stuff he does is very niche. So like Monster Kids love his stuff, but Monster Kids aren't like driving the box office.
Yeah,
100%. I couldn't agree more. That's 100% what it is. And like I said, it's a shame, because he really is kind of so weirdly good and specific about what he does. And again, I would argue every single film he's ever written, directed is like, these are great. Now he is doing Godzilla Kong, I guess, the New Empire next. So, but that's directed by Adam Wingard. So.
Oh, okay.
Was he Dougherty producing?
Right.
He's producing.
He wrote it.
Yeah. Oh, writing it. Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
he gives like 15 writing credits. He's writing the new Hellraiser series as well.
I don't want that. I didn't love that new movie. That was just.
It's not
I
great.
didn't love. Man,
It was so
glad someone
sanitary.
said that. It was. You know the problem. The biggest problem with the new film was it felt like it was made by people who don't like sex. It felt like I was literally watching a film that was like, you don't like sex.
This
like,
movie's
you clearly
dry.
Don't like. Yeah. No, it was. I felt like I was watching a Hellraiser movie made by Puritans. It was weird.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just, I don't know, so clean and sanitary and well lit, and it's just like it was missing the sex, and it was missing the gothic atmosphere that the first couple had.
Yeah. And the like you said, in the first one where Julia is kind of the main villain, they tried to make this one dude the main villain, but he's like never in the film. He's like only in it at the very end, when it's like, oh, he's been planning this whole thing. But I'm like, yeah, but he's not really done anything the whole movie. So like, it was weird.
Plus, you don't care about anybody in that movie. Like the first one, Kirsty, you love her. Like she's great.
Yeah,
you want her to succeed. You don't want to see anything bad happen to her. This new one, you don't give a shit about anybody.
Yeah, it was really weak for me. I remember seeing that on when it dropped on Hulu, because I was very excited for a new Hellraiser movie, and I was like, it was fine.
Yeah, a lot of people have the problem with like, oh, it's a female Pinhead. Didn't care. I didn't care.
Yeah, that could.
It's fine.
That was literally the last thing on my list of things to care about for that.
Just
film.
get the job
there was
done.
So many other criticisms of that movie that were way more warranted, that had nothing to do with that. So
We will move on, of course, next to Anna Paquin, one of the bigger stars in this movie.
Cute as a button in this movie.
Yeah.
Anna Paquin is so good in this. She's just killer in this movie.
Yeah.
Great. And this was probably the tape that her agent sent for True Blood, probably. So.
Yeah.
Was this before? This was like 2007 True Blood's like what, 2008 or 9 maybe?
I don't know.
9, yeah.
Well, you
It's
got it
like
up
2
on
years
here.
later, I think. Yeah, 2 or 3 years later.
Again, it's almost
would
as
not
if we have an internet movie database in front of us. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked at all if this was literally the thing that they were like, oh, by the way, she can do this. So
Yeah, she could do horror.
Yeah. As far as some of the most recent things she has been in, she was in The Irishman in 2019.
That was great.
The marathon-length Martin Scorsese movie.
It was great. I loved it. I don't give a shit.
I still have only seen it the one time. I do want to watch it again. I just don't have 3.5 hours.
Yeah, no, it's a rough one. It's
I loved Pacino's portrayal of what's his name?
Oh, you can do it. Come on.
Oh.
Hoffa. I
There
love
you
his
go.
portrayal of Hoffa. Yeah, his portrayal of Hoffa was great. I really liked Jack Nicholson's too in Hoffa, that film, but I really loved Pacino's portrayal. He was really good in it.
Yeah.
Let's see.
2008 was True Blood.
Oh, so yeah, the following year. Yeah, 2008.
Frank says in the chat too, and I agree with him that there was a little bit of a horror element with Anna Paquin and the OG X-Men. Yeah, I kind of agree. There's a little bit. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
She was just True Blood came out in 2008 and this came out in 2007. So again, I would not be shocked at all if when she did this movie and she went into the room, her agents were like, she just did Trick or Treat, and they sent her a reel of this little scene, and then she auditioned, and they were like, yeah, she can do this.
Yep.
She was in that like forgotten Pixar movie, The Good Dinosaur. In
Oh Jesus!
And they just like there's just
She's had
no
a great
mention
she's
of
had a
that movie.
fantastic
Like,
career.
yeah,
Yeah, well, she's all over the place. Like in a lot of spots, you really wouldn't expect to find her.
yeah. She is probably most well known as Rogue from the X-Men movies. Either that or Sookie from True Blood.
Sucky.
Yeah, I'd say True Blood is her most well known. She was on that show for what, 6 years, 7 years?
Yeah, 2008 to 2014, 81 episodes.
Man, you talk about a series that started great and then just took a shitter after like 4 seasons.
It just
Season 4
know
was
that
where I lost it.
My girlfriend loved that show, and I think that show definitely was more keen to female viewers for sure.
Yeah.
Some of the other standout things. She was in The Squid and the Whale in 2005. Joan of Arc TV movie 2005 as well.
Oh, Steamboy. Steamboy rocks.
I'm not familiar.
It's a
Anime?
that was a Miyazaki movie, right? I'm pretty sure it was.
I have never seen a Miyazaki movie.
Are you shitting me right
Not
now?
one.
Why?
The fuck?
I don't like anime.
Hold on. Well, I need to tell you that is fine. That is totally cool. Miyazaki and like Studio Ghibli movies are like they're cinema. Like it's not anime. That's a fucking movie.
Yeah, you have the meme of Scorsese just saying it's cinema. Right
Yeah.
there for you.
Yeah.
Yep, have not seen a single second of any one of those movies.
Dude, you are doing yourself a disservice in the name of a genre.
Go watch Grave of the Fireflies and cry.
Spirited Away is
Spirited Away is
fantastic.
amazing.
Yeah, that's a great film.
That's a go-to, yeah.
Howl's Moving Castle. My
Yeah,
Name
Howl's Moving
Totoro.
Castle.
Like, oh.
Mhm.
Princess Mononoke. Oh, yeah.
Anyway, back to Anna Paquin.
No.
Anime chat.
Away from my cinematic deficiencies. She was in 25th Hour in 2002. She was in Finding Forrester in 2000, which gave the world the sound clip.
You're the man now, dog.
She was in.
Do you remember YTMND?
YTMND? What is that?
You're the man now, dog.
It was a website, and then like it was just like gifs of things like early internet days.
Yeah. She was in Almost Famous in 2000.
Oh yeah,
X-Men
she was.
movie.
Yep. Mhm.
Yeah. First X-Men movie was also 2000.
I gotta tell you, I think I've seen about half of Almost Famous.
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a solid movie.
Yeah.
Solid.
She was in She's All That in 1999.
Wow.
Also in Amistad, 1997, another Spielberg movie.
Again, as a working actor, I will just say for Anna Paquin, she is just killer. I mean, I'm telling you, she's had just incredibly long-lasting, amazing career. She really has.
It's just solid. Like you never really see her. Like she may be in something that's sketchy, but she's always good in whatever she's in.
Yeah.
Totally.
She's her first role is in 1986, and she's been around almost 40 years in acting. But some of the other notable things: Fly Away Home, 1996; Jane Eyre, also 96; The Piano, 1993. That's the one that got her like the first like really big like critical acclaim.
Yeah.
Moving on. Next up, we have Brian Cox. Yeah,
Brian Cox, man.
Just top
So
notch
good in this.
actor.
It's this film to me is like I wish we could get Brian Cox in more horror films because he would just tear it up. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
to me, he would be akin to me what Peter Cushing and what oh my God, why am I blanking on his name from the other? He's in the Frankenstein films with Cushing. Why am I blanking on his name right now? Christopher Lee. He is our timeline now. He's at that age where he can play all of those roles.
He's the elder statesman.
Yeah. He's the elder statesman. He would just crush all of them.
Yeah. He can do the stupid, funny, goofy shit because his comedic timing is amazing, but he can also do drama, which is rare because they're two very different skill sets.
Yeah, Frank in the chat was saying that he got to see him do Death of a Salesman at the Omens, and I'm like, oh yeah, he would absolutely just destroy that, just destroy it. And again, I think he more than anyone in Trick or Treat, I think gives the film a little bit of a legitimate boost in terms of oh, Brian Cox is in this movie. Okay, I'm going to take this movie a little bit more seriously than I would any other kind of ho-hum regular thing. And we saw that kind of throughout history where the original Tales from the Crypt film that was made by Amicus was had some kind of a couple of names in there that kind of gave it a little bit more legitimacy. And I feel like, again, when you do anthology films, since you have the segmented approach, you do have to get at least one legitimate type of star in there. And then this film has not only Cox, but it has Paquin. But I think Cox really elevates it because of the last segment and his work in it.
And Dylan Baker too, another acting powerhouse.
Yep.
He also lives not far from here. Brian Cox. He lives on the other side of East Greenbush, I think.
Get the fuck out of my life.
Yeah, no shit. Fucking
what?
Yes, he's fairly local. Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah.
You imagine going out to a bar and grabbing a drink, and is that Brian Cox?
Just picturing him at the Heritage.
He would never drink at the Heritage.
Because I would go flat broke to have Brian Cox ride around a cop car with me, pretending to be a drunk chief of police.
The Heritage is the dive bar down the street from our studio where we pretty much hang out after every recording. And yeah, just Brian Cox and Hank the bouncer having a conversation. Oh, I want to see that.
Top notch. That would be top notch.
Oh man!
So hit me with some of these Brian Cox IMDb highlights.
Yeah, let's. We'll
hit me with those cocks.
Hit me with that cock.
Yeah,
Cox.
Who doesn't love Cox? Yeah.
Yeah, lay that Cox out. He is going to be a voice in the upcoming Lord of the Rings animated War of the Rohirrim. I don't know if it's a movie or series or what they're doing with that.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, but that's a thing that's happening. As far as the stuff he's probably most well known as, I mean, as far as recent stuff, he's Logan Roy in Succession, and that's pretty huge right now.
Succession, what's that show?
Yeah,
I never heard anyone talk about that.
There's the only monsters in that are the greedy business monsters. Yeah. We'll get to that. Some of the other stuff he's been in. He was the narrator in that Quasi movie, the recent Broken Lizard movie, which was.
Didn't everybody hate that?
Yeah.
Which one was it? Which one? Broken Lizard? Which one was it?
Quasi, the one that just came out earlier this year.
Oh right, yes, Quasi, wasn't it? Yeah,
Quasi, yeah.
Is it Quasimodo?
It's quasi watchable, is what it is.
I was gonna say, who fucking cares? Honestly,
I love Broken Lizard though. I love those guys for their DIY aesthetic. I love that. I mean, and again, I watch Beer Fest and Super Troopers all the time. I love both of those films.
Those are A1 comedies.
They're amazing.
I when that movie came out, we watched it. I said I feel like this is a contractual obligation movie. They had to make this and just make the fucking movie. Put no effort into it.
Yeah. That's
anyway,
fair. That's fair.
That's why Guns N' Roses put out a covers album in the 90s.
Because we just have to make an album.
Yeah.
He was the voice of God in an episode last week, Tonight with John Oliver. He was in that animated Blade Runner series, did a voice in that.
I didn't watch that. And as a giant Blade Runner fan, I have reasons. And those reasons are the latter Blade Runner movie. It showed me that you just can't do it.
Fair enough.
See, I didn't hate Blade Runner 2049. I hated Jared Leto in it. That's who I hated. I didn't hate the film itself, but I hated him in the film.
I just couldn't get behind Kay, like the character. Like, I don't know why. I just didn't care.
Yeah. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would, but I really despise Leto in it, and I despise him in most movies.
Yeah, I despise him as a human.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
He was in 3 episodes of the first season of Good Omens. He was the voice of Death in that.
Oh, we have God and Death.
Yeah. He is, of course, Captain O'Hagan in the 2 Super Troopers movies.
There you go.
There it is.
Hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah, that first one. I said I like the second one, but that first one is just so amazingly hilarious.
Yeah.
No, the first one is perfect. Bear fucker.
Do you need assistance?
I still quote that line.
The next person to say shenanigans is gonna get pistol whipped.
Is that part of all the crazy crap on the walls?
Shenanigans?
Hey, you guys doing some shenanigans in here?
The movie is infinitely fucking quotable.
Yeah. And that was the second time I got the clap. Yeah, I haven't watched it in a while.
I said I'll take a large farva.
Yeah, I don't want a goddamn large Fargo.
20 ounces.
Yeah.
What a liter. 20 liter.
Give me a liter of cola.
Yeah, give me a liter of cola.
Liter. It's French for break Vu's fucking lips.
Yeah. Who wants a mustache ride? I do.
I do.
That's my car. It's my girl.
Yeah. Oh man.
Do that for an hour and a half.
Yeah, I can just reenact the whole movie.
I know. I was about to say. I was like, that's like my personality for 1 year, pretty much. That was.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh, he thinks I'm a Mexican.
It's brown magic. Oh, you skipped over the autopsy of Jane Doe.
Nimbly bimbly.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
I apologize.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in the autopsy of Jane Doe, which is an awesome,
so good
movie. Yeah.
God, that movie rocks.
Actually, you know
rocks so hard.
That was probably the last like unsettling, vibey movie I've seen in a while.
Yeah. We gotta get that.
That's
one.
honestly. It's funny, guys. Me and my girl are thinking about watching stuff tonight. I may put on that one tonight. I haven't watched that one in a minute, and that one rocks.
I was just about to say we need to put that on the list.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was in 2 episodes of the Penny Dreadful TV series, which I never saw, but I'm interested.
I back the idea.
Yeah.
But the execution was a little shaky.
I'm going to say this about Penny Dreadful. First 2 seasons are fucking incredible. I mean, oh
Agreed.
My God, are they good?
Agreed.
The 3rd season gets truncated because they got an early exit order, and so they had to like effectively make everything work at the very end. But the first 2, man, are undeniably fucking great. And Josh Hartnett is amazing, and Ava Green is killer. It's a really good show.
Yeah. If I have one criticism of that show is that there is, bear with me here, too much sex.
It's a lot. I just the thing for me is it nails that old school Universal horror aesthetic though, of like the fog and the London streets and like that whole like vibe. It's great.
Yeah, and it's got just enough of the like kind of visceral stuff to bring in that hammer element. So it's like a really good marriage of the two.
Again, the first 2 seasons, they're killer. It sucks that they had to end it the way they did, but the werewolf stuff, I mean, they have Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde in it. They've got fucking
Frankenstein.
Dorian Gray. Frankenstein.
That's right. Dorian Gray was in there. Yeah.
Yeah, Dorian Gray was in it. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, I need to watch that show. Anyway, back to Brian Cox. He was in Her in 2013 with Joaquin Phoenix.
Joaquin?
He was in Red 2, 2013 with Bruce Willis, Morgan Freeman, Helen. Oh Lord, Helen Mirren. There we go.
Helen Mirren, yeah.
Let's see. He's in The Campaign with Will Ferrell and Zach Galifianakis, 2012.
That was way funnier than it had any right to be.
Yeah. He's in Rise of the Planet of the Apes, 2011. He did a voice in Killzone 3, the video game.
That's weird.
Yeah, that is kind of weird.
Frank Welker would really like to focus on the fact that Cox was in her. And he's right. Also, I love that we all just default to calling that channel Frank Welker. So it's as though we're saying Frank Welker.
Yeah, Frank
the actual
Welker.
voice actor Frank Welker is saying this. Yeah.
Frank Welker said this.
He was in Coriolanus in 2011. He was in the first Red movie, too, in 2010. Let's see. He did an episode of Doctor Who in 2009.
Gross.
He was in the Fantastic Mr. Fox, also in 2009.
Less gross, but still.
He was also in Killzone 2, 2009. He did a Scooby-Doo movie in 2008. Scooby-Doo
Hell
and the
yeah.
Samurai Sword.
Now that's something Frank Welker can get behind.
Of course, Trick or Treat in 2007. Same year he did Zodiac, too. He was in that.
Zodiac was so good.
Yeah, it was a good movie.
Zodiac was great. Fucking great.
He's in 9 episodes of Deadwood. I do not remember him in that series.
Me neither.
Yeah. It's been a while since I've watched Deadwood, but I don't
Yeah, I was
remember.
gonna say, it's been a long time for me watching Deadwood.
Yeah.
You know what? Deadwood is like... That's top 5 Western stuff for me.
Yeah.
A massive Western
Deadwood
fan.
is very high caliber. I would argue that's when HBO was really making truly like groundbreaking television.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The show was so good.
Yeah, late 90s, like early 2000s, like, yeah, they were just cranking out really great stuff. He's in The Ringer with Johnny Knoxville in 2005.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Was The Ringer only rated a 5.3 on IMDb? Is that what I saw?
5.8.
5.8. Criminal.
Yeah.
Criminal.
When the fuck did we get ice cream?
I say it all the time. You took my CD and you scratched it.
He's in The Bourne Supremacy in 2004. I think he's in a couple of those Bourne movies.
Yeah.
Those
what movies?
Those Bourne movies.
Oh, Bourne movies.
Yeah.
I thought you said boring.
I thought he said porn.
Brian Cox in a porn movie?
Cox in porn?
Yeah. All the cocks.
He played Agamemnon in Troy in 2004. He's in the Manhunt video game in 2003, did a voice in that. He was, of course, William Stryker in X2 in 2003.
Great in that movie.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Still probably the best X-Men movie.
That's not a high bar.
Yeah. He's in Adaptation in 2002. Same year he's in The Ring, too. I don't remember him in The Ring, but it's been a while since I've seen The Ring.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I don't think I've seen The Ring since I rented it on VHS.
Yeah, same here.
Wait, Ring 1?
Yeah, he's in The Ring.
You guys haven't seen that since way back in the day?
Yeah, I think when it first came out on video, it was probably the last time I saw it.
Pretty new when I
I'm
saw
going to
it.
say this right now. I think The Ring is one of the greatest, not only like reimagining, reboots, remakes ever, but it is. I mean, that is a fucking amazing horror movie. I mean, that movie rips.
I do remember liking it, yeah.
Yeah.
I want to say I saw Ringu a couple of times, the original Japanese one. I actually wound up reading one of the mangas that it was based on. I guess there was like a couple of them in like a series, but like I read the original one, and it really is some dark shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
the Ring. The thing I love most about The Ring is that the opening scene is so expertly fucking crafted in terms of how it like kind of is building up to something, you know, and then it kind of weaves away from that, and then it goes back to it, and the scare scene is fucking great. And then the thing about The Ring itself that I think makes it one of the standout horror movies, and really even the American adaptation is fucking great at this, is the way it unfolds as like a great mystery, as like something it's almost Hitchcockian in the way that it unfolds. It's so good. It's really that I think The Ring 1 is a fantastic horror film, like really, really special.
Yeah, it really does nail that. Like, you are trying to figure it out with the people in the movie. Like, nothing is like super cut and dry until, you know, like obviously the final few moments of the movie. But yeah, you're always wondering, like, who is this girl? What happened? How do we fix this? What's going on? Like, I'm terrified.
Yeah, it was, and it kind of, it's funny. We look at like something like Sinister as kind of popularizing that weird kind of like retro snuff film thing, but they do it in The Ring well before that. And that the film that she's in or whatever is creepy as fuck. And again, I think that film is almost now veering on underrated because of how bad the sequels were, that people forgot how amazing the first one was.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that got sequels.
Yeah, and a remake too, like a reboot.
Did it really?
I believe so. Yeah, like a couple of years ago, not that long ago.
Well, it went Ring 2, and then I think they did Rings, and Rings was really bad. But Ring 1, again, Naomi Watts, Brian Cox. I mean, that directed by Gore Verbinski, fucking hit it out of the park. That film is great.
Yeah. I always gravitated more toward the Grudge movies, like not the American ones, the Japanese ones.
Ju-on.
The atmosphere that they set up is so dense. Like, it's just unsettling start to finish. I didn't really see I think I saw the second one, but I don't think I saw the third one. I think there's 3 of them. But that first one is just amazing.
Yeah. And that's another one that honestly the American remake of the first one was solid. So.
It's fine. It's fine. It just, I don't think it doesn't carry the same weight that the original carried.
Yeah.
Which it was just made for a different audience, I think.
Yeah, agreed.
Here's a fact that's gonna make everybody feel yucky. Super Troopers is from 2001.
Oh, fuck you.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, I feel old. I feel really old. Yeah.
It's just everybody in here just sighed heavily.
Please excuse the vomiting noises. Blame it on alcohol.
He was in Rushmore in 1998. That was before Wes Anderson got annoying, in my opinion. I loved Rushmore. Later stuff, I didn't even make it through Asteroid City.
I don't even know Asteroid City.
It's on the cock. He was in The Boxer with Daniel Day-Lewis in 1997. He did a voice in the Superman animated series, also 97. He's in the Red Dwarf TV series, again, 97. He is in The Long Kiss Goodnight in 1996 with a new friend of the show, Greg Bierko. Also in 1996, he's in The Glimmer Man with Steven Seagal.
Not even a good Seagal.
I got excited for the wrong one.
This is full-on dashiki wearing Seagal era.
Painted on hairline. Yeah. You know, like one of his most recent movies, he barely gets out of a fucking chair.
I do believe that. I believe that very hard.
Don't you dare make fun of Steven Seagal like that.
We'll send Vladimir Putin after you.
Yeah, I was about to say, don't you know that he could probably kick you like mid, like lift his leg up like halfway in his wheelchair,
right above the ankle?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not like super confident in my physical abilities. I'm pretty sure I can take
Seagal
at this point.
At this point, I'm pretty sure I can kick his ass.
Like 6'3", 250. I think I got it.
Give me like 3 or 4 PBRs in me. I fucking got this.
PBRs. Yeah, just a couple of old Overholt shots and a
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Like, I have a bottle of Mad Dog 2020. This will be over in 30 seconds.
I got that dog in me.
Yeah, just strap on a king cobra on me, and 40, and I'll be fine.
Oh man.
I don't want to be anywhere near Steven Seagal on the phrase strap on.
He's in Chain Reaction with Keanu Reeves in 1996.
That movie is entirely missable.
Yeah. He is in basically the same movie twice in 1995, Rob Roy and Braveheart.
One of those is way better than the other.
Yeah. Excuse me. I need a,
Rob Roy with Liam Neeson. Yeah,
Rob Roy has amazing fight choreography.
Yeah.
Braveheart is an amazing fucking movie. Like, that's the difference.
It really is. Braveheart's good, yeah. Liam Neeson and Rob Roy, I've got a particular set of skills, including freeing Ireland from being from English rule. Yeah.
Let's see. There's a lot of Shakespeare in here. We're in the early 90s right now.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah, a lot of English stuff. Oh, I'm sorry. There's one very notable credit from 1986. He is the first actor to play Hannibal Lecter in Manhunter.
Oh yeah, killer. Manhunter is fucking killer. Awesome movie.
Oh, all right. Yeah, no. Manhunter is like criminally underrated.
Yeah.
He knocks it out of the park as Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah,
that movie is arguably as good as Silence of the Lambs.
100%. I was going to say it would have been an interesting world to see him reprise that role in the later films, and to see. I'm not sure. I mean, Anthony Hopkins obviously an incredible actor, but he obviously broke through the mainstream in the biggest way with that film.
Oh yeah.
It would have been really interesting to see what would have happened with Brian Cox if he had done that role originally. So, in terms of doing the Silence of the Lambs film instead of Hopkins. So
yeah. It would have changed a lot of the vibe of the movie. Well, all the stuff that he was in anyway. Because he played it like almost like the Southern gentleman, where in Silence of the Lambs you had this like refined, almost like posh, attitude, upper class kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like with Hopkins' character too, there is more of an essence of the underlying kind of homosexuality with his character, and so there's like kind of that kind of like little bit of essence there, whereas I don't get that as much from Cox's version of the character.
No,
it would have been
really
an interesting juxtaposition with them two, but Manhunter again is just like you guys said, it's criminally underrated. Directs the shit out of that movie like he does most of his films, and it's so good.
Yep.
I just remember when they would play that on TV on used to play it on WSBK, the Boston channel, a lot. They always showed that clip of the guy in the wheelchair, Freddie Lounds, like flaming wheelchair, like rolling down the street, let's see. He's in an episode of the Hammer House of Horror in 1980.
Nice.
Anything else notable? We're in the 70s here.
This is probably where you're gonna.
Yeah, a lot of like actor stuff. We might move. Yeah, that's pretty much it. His first role is in 1965, in a TV series called The Wednesday Play. We will move on. Next up, we have Dylan Baker, who played the sadistic serial killing principal in this movie.
He looks like it. He would be.
He plays a lot of like fucked up roles.
Yeah. He's just got the face.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. He's got a normal face, but you mix it with those eyes that he's got.
He was.
You're right on the money. It's the eyes with him. You're really right. It really is his eyes. His eyes are very blue and kind of just they're unsettling.
They're almost Buscemi-esque, but a little less comedic.
Yeah, I feel like Buscemi plays it more comedic. I agree with you.
Recently, he was in the Amazon series Hunters. He plays an escaped, like, fugitive Nazi in that. As far as voice work, he's been playing Dr. Doom on the Marvel Wastelanders, series of podcasts, which is pretty cool.
Wow, that's his voice?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
It does not sound like him at all.
Is it like really effects laden?
I'm sure they do a lot of effects work with him, yeah.
Yeah. It's very like it's like what you think Doctor Doom would sound like. It's very kind of robotic and
Sick.
Yeah.
That Wastelander series is so much better than it has any right to be. It's honestly very, very good.
Yeah.
That's
No. Like some of the voice actors they have are crazy. Like Timothy Busfield plays like Old Man Star-Lord. Susan Sarandon plays like the Black Widow. There's plenty of other. Like Craig Bierko is Captain America.
Is he really?
Yeah.
God damn it! Fucking Bierko getting it.
Yeah. Some of the other voices on there. It's like I can look it up.
I haven't actually listened to any of the Marvel podcasts.
Chris Elliott is Rocket Raccoon. That's right.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I love Chris Elliott.
It's perfect casting for him. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I've always wanted to, like going all the way back to like when they released like the first one, was it the Wolverine story that they did in podcast form?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I just never got around to them. I just recently found they did a Riddler based one for DC.
Oh, really?
I just found that.
Yeah,
yesterday.
they did Batman Unmasked, and now they're doing the Riddler one. They did a Harley Quinn one too.
Yeah.
Or they're doing one. And,
Yeah, Batman stuff is really good.
I
And
need
they
to
did,
listen to this Doom Wastelander series. This cast is insane.
Keith David as
Keith David plays the Kingpin. You have Hamish Linklater as Sandman. He was the priest in Midnight Mass.
Yeah.
Kristen Johnson is She-Hulk. John Hawkes from fucking Deadwood is Claw. Dylan Baker, of course, is Dr. Doom.
I love that his IMDb page photo is him doing his best Sean Penn. You look up John Hawkes on IMDb, you'd swear that you're looking at Sean Penn.
It's like Sean Penn circa 1995.
And he had the mustache, little triangle goatee.
Well, and I was going to say too with Dylan Baker. I know you're going to get to this. I would have killed to see Dylan Baker play an actual lizard in Spider-Man because
to play the lizard.
And I'm like, he was fantastic as Kurt Connors, and I would have loved to see him actually turn into the lizard at some point. And you know, if Raimi didn't have his bullshit interference from Sony, we might have actually gotten that movie for the third one. So
You mean Sony ham-fisted and fucked up something? What?
yeah, exactly.
They were so close to making that they already plotted filming. They were going to film it around here, like a lot of it.
Why are studios like filming around here so often now? Is it just because like nobody else has before?
Parts of it look like New York City, like parts of Albany. Yeah.
And the tax credits. So
That too, yeah.
Oh yeah, there was a big thing about that, wasn't there?
Anyway, back to the credits here. We're on Dylan Baker. He was in the Elementary TV series. That was 2018. The Good Fight. He played Johnny Carson, and I'm Dying Up Here on Showtime. 5 episodes, 2017 through 18. It shows up on Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. Second time tonight that shows up. He's killing the CBS series, The Good Wife, The Mentalist. Looks like he did some NBC work for a while. Chicago PD, Chicago Fire.
Oh, the Chicagos.
Yeah. He's in Anchorman 2 in 2013.
I still don't want to see that.
It's funny.
The first one was perfect. Anchorman.
Are we talking about Anchorman 2?
Yeah.
Anchorman 2 is the perfect assimilation of more is not always better. That's really that sums up the film. It's one of those movies that when it hits good, and when it doesn't, it really is not funny at all. And
everybody I talk to says it's just a vehicle to get to the second fight.
And that's not a terrible way of looking at it.
Yeah, that's actually pretty true.
Never thought of that.
Just to make that fight joke a second time.
Yeah, I'm good.
Fuck. Yeah, that tracks. That
hurts me.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm here to do.
He is in Revolutionary Road in 2008 with Kate Winslet and Leonardo DiCaprio too, I think, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's see. Back to Dylan Baker. He's in an episode of Monk, Law and Order: Criminal Intent. He's in that horrible fucking musical Across the Universe.
I don't know why you hold such a grudge against Across the Universe. It's
like
really not a bad movie.
Don't want it. Don't need it. We mentioned he plays Dr. Kurt Connors in Spider-Man 3. I think he shows up maybe like for a minute in the second one too, but
Yeah.
it's neither here nor there. Yeah, there he is, Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
Shows up in The West Wing for an episode as well. He's in The Road to Perdition in 2002.
That's
a really
a
good
good
movie.
movie.
I haven't seen in a long time.
I love that movie. And that movie's great.
Yeah. He's in Original Flavor CSI 2001. He's in Along Came a Spider in 2001 also. Those were those Alex Cross like thriller movies.
Yeah.
Kiss the Girls and Along Came a Spider.
Yeah, even if you don't like look at specific character stuff, like the late 90s, early 2000s were a really good time for crime dramas.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. He is in The Cell in the year 2000.
Fucking underrated. Great movie.
Yeah, it really is.
I have to rewatch that. I have to give that a second chance.
The aesthetics in that film alone are just so awesome to watch. And even though Jennifer Lopez is probably the weakest link of the movie, Vincent D'Onofrio is so unhingedly awesome in that movie.
Yeah, he really is. Like, The Cell is criminally underrated, but it's also a little bit of a case of weird for the sake of weird.
Yeah, that's what kills me on it.
Mm-hmm.
But you can get past that. Like, the visuals are stunning, like you said. Like, there's some just like insane shit that you're never gonna see in any other movie.
Yeah.
And it's so uncomfortable through the whole thing. It's just mwah.
Yeah, and again, D'Onofrio, who I think is one of our most underrated actors who has really worked on so much mainstream stuff. I love, by far my favorite ever Law and Order was Criminal Intent, and I loved him in Criminal Intent.
Mm-hmm.
But him in The Cell, I mean, him in Daredevil, him in
his Kingpin was so good.
Yeah.
I mean, it is perfection. I mean, like anything, I was like, when they announced that casting, I go, oh, that's a fucking slam dunk. Like,
Yeah.
just absolute perfect casting.
Yep.
And his character had so much nuance and was like, okay, cool. He's not just going to play this very straight crime boss, but it was like this kind of this up and these peaks and valleys of this character. It was phenomenal.
Yeah, you wind up kind of falling in love with him as a villain, and it's just like that's what a good villain should be. Like you identify a little bit with them, so you understand why they are the way they are, no matter how bad they are. Like, you can always disagree with what they're doing, but you can be like, I see why he's that way.
Yeah.
Which is great.
I was also going to mention, I mean, Private Pile, too. Like,
Yeah.
all-time, memorable character. Like, holy shit.
You know what I actually love him in is Men in Black.
Yeah.
Oh man, he's so good in that too.
Yeah.
Oh god, he's so great in that.
Yeah.
Oh. The other movie I was going to say too that's very underrated is The Salton Sea with Val Kilmer, and he plays a drug boss in that movie, and he is delightfully unhinged in that too.
Really? I haven't seen that one.
It's great. Val Kilmer plays a undercover cop who's like effectively a junkie, and he's trying to find out who murdered his wife, and like kind of going through the Salton Sea, which is like this very drug invested area in I believe in Utah that they're in, and like it's really good. It's a lot of fun.
That sounds awesome. Like, how old is that movie?
It was like
I think it
2001,
came out in like late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, I want to say I worked at the movie theater when that came out, so it had to be like 2000.
That must have just gone completely under my radar.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, D'Onofrio just fantastic in it. So
Yeah.
good.
We were speaking about uncomfortable things before. He's in Requiem for a Dream in 2000. Speaking
I
of
don't like that
uncomfortable
movie. I just don't like it.
I mean, I remember watching it, and I was like, I'm never gonna do drugs again. And then the next day, I probably smoked weed. But
Two
yeah,
things I'm never going to do again: drugs and watch this movie.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, if I want to watch like I guess just like a heroin movie, I'm gonna watch Trainspotting because it's a better made movie.
Trainspotting is good. I do
Yeah.
enjoy Trainspotting a lot.
He was in an episode of Oz.
Oof, talk about uncomfortable.
Yeah. He was also in Happiness in 1988. That was a fucked up movie.
Which one was that?
It's like a kind of like an ensemble type of movie.
Yeah, and he plays a pedophile on that. It's fucked up. It's
Yeah, like
very
he's
fucked
like
up.
this like dad and his family, like his kid's having a sleepover, and like he puts like pills into the ice cream they're all having. Like,
don't like that.
yeah, so he can molest the kid. Yeah,
No.
yeah. It's pretty brutal.
He's got the look.
Yeah. Speaking of which, he was in an episode of The Cosby Mysteries in 1994.
Oh, look at this segue, guys.
Fucking segue. Holy shit.
Oh man.
Night night.
Let's just wrap that up.
Oh, you couldn't ask for a better setup than that. I'm sorry. Anyway, he's in The Last of the Mohicans in 1992, which
Amazing.
is a classic movie.
Classic movie.
Anything else worth mentioning? He's in an episode of Spencer for Hire and Miami Vice in 1988. He's in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles in 1987.
That's notable.
classic. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a Christmas movie.
Yeah. Ishtar.
Oh
It's a
yeah,
Thanksgiving movie.
that's a Thanksgiving movie.
Yeah.
That's a Thanksgiving movie.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
He's in Ishtar in 1987. That movie was a punchline for a very long time.
Ishtar?
Yeah.
Because it was so bad?
I've never seen it, but apparently, yeah, it's Dustin Hoffman and Warren Beatty, and apparently it was terrible. Moving on, up next, Rochelle Ayates. Let's think one of those is right.
Sure.
As
She's one of the werewolf girls, right?
Yes, yeah, she's one of the werewolf girls. As far as some of the things she was in the Purge TV series for 10 episodes. She was in 4 episodes of the Hawaii 5-0 reboot, 10 episodes of Criminal Minds. She was in 3 episodes of Desperate Housewives.
You're not selling me on this segment here.
Yeah, I'm like, there had to have been a reason I saved her.
I Left 4 Dead 2.
Yeah, she was a voice in Left 4 Dead 2. That was 2009.
Yeah.
She was in an episode of Bones. Why did I save her?
I don't know.
CSI New York.
Sorry, who was this again? It was.
She's one of the werewolf girls.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Rochelle Ayates, I think her name is. Aites. Maria is her name.
Okay. Yep.
She's in Medea's Family Reunion in 2006. Oh, she's in White Chicks in 2004. That's probably why I saved her.
Wow.
Any chance you can mention that?
Yeah.
You sure it wasn't the Sex in the City?
Her first role is Sex in the City in 2003. Let's see. Quinn Lord, who we mentioned earlier on, plays S.A.M in this movie. As far as some of the other things he's in, currently he's in Firefly Lane. I think it's on Netflix. He was in 21 episodes of The Man in the High Castle on Amazon.
I still haven't watched it, which is terrible because I'm a big Philip K. Dick fan.
Yeah, I watched the first series and it was good, and I just didn't care when it came back for the second season. Yeah. He's in R.L. Stein's The Haunting Hour TV series, 2011, 2012. Once Upon a Time in 2012.
My wife was obsessed with that show.
It was like where they're like real life fairy tales or whatever.
Yeah, they like crossed over into the real world.
Fables, basically, like the TV show.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Just
with way less sex and violence.
He's in an episode of Fringe in 2010.
That show was like the ultimate switcheroo. Because like
it started out as an anthology, then became like a heavy, like long-running, like overarching story.
Yeah, what I wanted.
I feel like that's X-Files though too. I mean, X-Files was the classic Monster of the Week thing.
Yeah,
and then it really went into the full-blown, long kind of like. I love X-Files when it's Monster of the Week, and when it gets into full-blown conspiracy, it really gets bogged down for me. So
the thing with X-Files though is like you can kind of watch it happen because it's a little more overarching story each season. But with Fringe, it was like you get this thing and then bang, there you are.
Yeah, it was always like more baked into the premise where like, oh, it's it's an anthology like thing of the week. Oh, but surprise, like all these things of the week are actually connected to this larger like interdimensional like battle like story.
Yeah. It started off as what I wanted and turned into what I didn't want.
I still loved it. I loved that show. I've been meaning to
Super high
rewatch it.
quality. Like, I don't want to take anything away from it that way.
Now the quality of Fringe is very high. It's just like the quality with X-Files. I mean, honestly, the quality of X-Files for the first 4 to 6 seasons, it's high. It's really high.
Yep. I think it fell off in the fucking Robert Patrick years.
Yeah, I mean, yes. Yeah, there's undoubtedly, I think, once they get into the first movie, that's where, for me, it falls off. Like, right around when the first movie premiered.
Yeah, so you can only carry that one thing for so long.
I didn't even watch that last movie. I heard it was just terrible.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't interested at all.
Like I said, I mean, for me, the first 2 seasons in particular of X-Files are just stellar. I mean, you get the Fluke Man, and
it's
you
just
get
so weird.
Yeah, it's so weird, and all of the weird cases they encounter are just awesome. And there's a little bit of alien stuff sprinkled in. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
Yep, it was definitely a wild ride for 2 seasons.
Let's see. He was in 2 episodes of Smallville in 2007. 1 episode of Masters of Horror the same year.
Oh, which one?
Let's take a look. 1 episode.
I will say for Masters of Horror, Cigarette Burns is another killer. John Carpenter.
Cigarette Burns rules.
Who did that one?
John Carpenter.
Oh, okay. He's in We All Scream for Ice Cream. Who did this one?
I don't know. I loved Imprint.
Tom Holland.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Mick Garris wrote it too.
Wasn't there Incident at a something road or something like that?
That was the Toby Hooper one, right?
Not Toby Hooper, but another director. He's absolutely great in it though.
Yeah.
Incident.
Goddamn.
Speaking of Tom Holland,
Incident
I just
on
watched...
off a mountain road. That's what it's called. Yeah, Incident on, and that had Angus Scrimm in it.
Yeah.
That was directed by Don Carscarelli, who did fantastic. Yeah, it's really good.
Speaking of Tom Holland, I watched Fright Night earlier today.
Did you?
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, I do love that movie.
That's another great Halloween one. That's another good October month watch.
Yeah, for sure.
What did you guys think about the remake of Fright Night? I thought it was solid. It was not.
Yeah, it's a completely different movie than the first one. I mean, it's got the same premise, but the feel is completely different. I still enjoyed it for what it was. I love David Tennant. I thought he was great in that.
I still haven't seen it.
David Tennant was fun,
Yeah.
and I honestly thought Colin Farrell was great in it too.
Yeah, it's Jerry. He's awesome as Jerry in that.
Yeah. I don't know. I never got around to it. I think it's always been like, yeah, I should watch that, but I'm gonna watch this first.
It's solid. It's solid. I will say, yeah. Shows up in an episode of Blade the series.
Ugh.
Yeah. Ooh.
Is that Sticky Fingers from Onyx as Blade?
It is. Up next, Lauren Lee Smith. She was another one of the werewolf girls. She
was the older sister.
Yeah. Some of the notable stuff she was in. She was in The Shape of Water in 2017, which awesome movie.
I was so close to giving that a 10 out of 10.
Yeah,
we did that.
She's Michael Shannon's wife in that movie.
Yeah.
And his character is just so fucked up and so great in that movie.
It's uncomfortable to look at him. Like,
his rotting finger, and
and like he's like just a piece of shit. Like I liked him in Boardwalk Empire too. Like he was just a detestable.
Oh, he's so amazing in Boardwalk Empire. That movie, that show is fantastic.
Yeah.
I've only seen the first 2 seasons, but
it's worth to watch the whole thing. It's good. It's
William
really
Forsythe is awesome in that show. His character, he's this like Jewish mobster, he's like a butcher. Like yeah.
That show's a lot of fun.
Yeah, there's really nothing to complain about in that entire thing. Well, in what I've seen, but
she shows up in an episode of Psych in 2010.
It's a fun show that overstayed its welcome.
Yeah. She shows up in 22 episodes of the original CSI.
Again.
Let's see. Trick or Treat, of course, 2007. She also shows up in Blade the series in 2006.
What the hell?
She's in 20 episodes of The L Word from 2004 to 2006. Art School Confidential, 2006. She's in the early 2000s reboot of The Twilight Zone, 2003. She's in 44 episodes of Mutant X. That was a syndicated TV show from the early 2000s.
Was that like an X-Men thing? Or was
Not at all.
They're
With
just
that
like
title,
they were
you'd
like
think it would be.
like, hey, you know what we can cash in on?
Yeah.
2 words.
Has nothing to do with X-Men. Yeah, she was in an episode of Dark Angel, the James Cameron series.
Oh,
in
so
2000.
good. Loved it.
She's in Get Carter with Sylvester Stallone in 2000. And her first role in 1996 includes Us, a music video, it looks like.
Oof.
Up next, we have Brett Kelly. He played
Thurman Merman himself.
Yeah, he played the kid who gets killed by the principal. Yeah, that's his most famous role. He's the kid in Bad Santa.
Yep.
Thurman Merman. Anything else notable? He's in Slapshot 3.
I will not watch anything past the first one.
Yeah.
I will not allow anything to sully my mental image of the movie Slapshot.
He is also in the We All Scream for Ice Cream episode of Masters of Horror. Let's see. Like Mike 2, The Sandlot 2, Dead Like Me shows up in 3 episodes of that in 2004. And his first role, Kill Me Later, 2001. He's in the movie Out Cold, also in 2001. That was like a wacky comedy for snowboarders.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Britt McKillop. She was, I think, one of the younger girls. She was the younger girl.
Macy.
Yeah, who was like luring Rhonda out. Like that.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's her. Some of the notable stuff. She's in a lot of voice work, actually. She's in 12 episodes of the Lego Ninjago TV series.
My kids will be thrilled.
Yeah. She's in a lot of like My Little Pony stuff. Princess Cadence. I can't read. She is in Lego Marvel Avengers as the head scientist. She's also in Lego Jurassic World. She's in a lot of the Lego Jurassic World stuff. Looks like she plays Bryce Dallas Howard's character in the Lego versions of Jurassic Park.
Oh, okay.
We're My Little Pony, more Ninjago.
Jesus.
Strawberry Shortcake. A lot of voice work. She's in a lot of. She's in the series and the Dead Like Me movies. She is George's younger sister, I believe, if I remember correctly. Reggie.
Okay, yeah.
A lot of stuff with the Bratz cartoon.
Ugh.
Yeah, a lot of voice work. Not much for our audience.
I'm feeling a little creepy looking at all this. I don't know.
Yeah, we're definitely on some kind of watch list now.
Don't worry, we all moved on to the porn title while you were doing that.
Oh,
it
did you?
started before.
All right.
And it bled into you talking about that.
What are some of the titles we have out there?
We have a potential winner. I did Trick or Meat.
Yeah.
Treat or Meat. Lick or Feet.
Oh, yeah.
Tug My Meat. And then we have the potential winner here, Dick or Treat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. That's the one.
Dick or Treat.
Or Dick or Meat.
Dick or Sweet. Dick or Feet.
You got to pick one or the other.
Yeah. It was a Dick or.
Let's see. She's in an episode of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, the TV show. Her first role is in 1995 in an episode of The Magic School Bus. Last up, Leslie Bibb, who plays the girl who gets killed right at the beginning of the movie. I forget her name off the top of my head. But she is in a lot of stuff.
She's had a great career too.
Yeah, for sure. She did some voice work in Robot Chicken recently.
I'm shocked that Robot Chicken is still going.
I think it finally just finished up recently. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
She is a recurring role in like the Marvel cinematic universe. She's like a reporter in like the Iron Man movies.
Okay.
She was on that show Jupiter's Legacy on Netflix in 2021, which got canceled after the first season. Probably rightfully so. It wasn't great. It's based on a Mark Millar comic.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was like a book series.
Yeah. She's in the movie Tag in 2018 with Jeremy Renner and Jake Johnson and like a whole bunch of like Hannibal Buress, a whole bunch of people in that movie. What else here? She was in 7 episodes of The League. I absolutely love that show. A couple episodes of The Odd Couple reboot in 2015.
I gave that like 2 episodes. Yeah.
This movie shows up a lot in our credits. Movie 43, she was in that.
Jesus Christ.
She was in Hell Baby, which I think we mentioned recently on an episode. Or that might have been a conversation not being recorded. I don't remember.
I don't know.
It was because I watched it. I don't think it was.
Yeah.
Why would you watch something called Hell Baby? No, never mind.
I remember why.
I had to reconfigure.
Wait.
Who the fuck am I talking to?
Correct.
Yeah.
But fuck you.
Yeah.
In 2011, she's in A Good Old-Fashioned Orgy.
That's the title of a movie, huh?
Yeah. Like I mentioned, she's in the first 2 Iron Man movies. There's one title coming up that I am going to read verbatim, and please don't be offended, anyone.
Oh, The Midnight Meat Train.
No. You'll see it when there it is. She was in CSI Miami in 2007, an episode of Entourage in 2007. Also in 2007, she's in a short film called My Wife is Retarded.
Wow. Nice.
How do you think that's a good choice?
And that's the night Art died.
Fuck.
Are you gonna make it?
I think we're about to be down a producer.
He's having a stroke.
Just go. Turn the button.
Just remember me as I am and just keep doing the show.
Oh shit! Talladega Nights.
Yeah, she
Yes.
is. She's Will Ferrell's wife in Talladega Nights.
That movie's so good.
Yeah.
It's so stupid, but it's so good.
Heart of the Diamond and Ice Storm.
I could meet my son's Walker, Texas Ranger. She's in the Skulls.
Jacked up on Mountain Dew.
She's in the Skulls in 2000 with Joshua Jackson. As far as she's in an episode of Just Shoot Me. She's in the Howard Stern movie Private Parts in 1997. She was in it for a second.
WNBC.
Yeah, she's an NBC page in that movie. Her first role, 1996, in the USA drama Pacific Blue.
So good.
And that will do it for the better known as segment of the show.
All right, we are off and running into the crapshoot.
Yeah.
Not as loud as I would like.
Yeah.
Well,
anything to mention in comments before we go on?
No,
it's just him and the Frank Welker
Yeah.
guys.
we
Just going
we
ham.
just did porn stuff for a while, and I died for a bit there.
Did some porn stuff, huh?
Yeah.
Ryan stepped away for a second, but I was gonna ask him about the podcast.
Well, that's fine.
Um,
It gives me an opportunity to go take a leak.
you want to do a be right back? Or no, we'll lose the.
Yeah, just
It's not worth it.
Yeah,
Fuck
we'll
'em.
lose the thing.
Time for an episode of the Chris Show.
It is that episode of the Chris Show, ladies and gentlemen. The show that only happens when Chris is. Ryan's back, and that's this episode of the Chris Show. Yeah.
I was about to start talking too.
Nick also got up for a second. We'll. This is the part where we kind of just talk about what we want. I was going to ask about the show, the podcast.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about Tales from the Crypt before. That's obviously a pretty big influence. But how did you go about getting into it? What made you kind of want to develop a an audio drama?
Yeah, I right before the pandemic, the idea was I wanted to do shorts that were anthology based. And, Quibi was coming out at that time. Everybody was like, oh, this short style is going to be a big thing. Obviously, pandemic happens. Quibi goes under. People are like, this is not going to work. And I was like, okay, we had produced 3 of these shorts of at that time.
Me too.
They were called Welcome to the Horror Show. And it was this idea of doing kind of like short anthology-based segments, kind of like Tales from the Crypt. And they would be like, 8 to 12 minutes. And we produced 3 of them. One was called Ping, which I wrote and directed, which was like about an Uber driver who ends up picking up like a ghost passenger. And then my partner at the time, Grace, wrote and directed. She wrote and directed one called Turkey Slay, and that was kind of found footage. And then the last one was called La Calavera, which was kind of a Hispanic kind of Christmas horror tale. And when that didn't really go, anywhere, I ended up getting involved in Clubhouse when that was a thing in about 2020, 2021. And that was an audio-based only app where you could talk to people. And I ended up getting on there at kind of the beginning, and I partnered up with a buddy of mine, and we ended up doing live table reads. So we did live table reads of Scream with Tori Spelling, Josh Rubin, Noah Segan. Other people were involved with me on that, which was super fun. We ended up doing another one after that called Get Out, which Sade Sellers helped me produce, and she helps produce the podcast. We actually had Monkey Paw listen in on that, and they loved it, which was super fun. And then we ended up doing Friday the 13th on Friday the 13th with Kelly Maroney and Christina Klebe and some other great actors.
I'm actually interviewing her in a couple weeks, actually, at a con in November.
She's fantastic, man. Absolutely wonderful. Love her. For me, when I got into audio, I was like, well, it's way cheaper to do my short films as audio plays rather than just go out and film them. And, I produced 2 short films this year. One of them is called Picture. It's on the short film, or it's on the festival circuit right now. Another one has not yet been released, but it's called Dawn of the Dad. And that's going to be also out soon. But I love really great horror stories that are not super long. And so for your horror show, I was like, well, I want to continue to do this thing. I love anthology, but I had to make it work in a way that was like just not supremely expensive. And audio, you can do so much more with so much less. And so I was able to call in a bunch of favors, and the episodes we produced at this point, which at this point now we have 6 episodes plus a trailer. Our Halloween special comes out next week. That'll have Josh Rubin in it doing a rendition of The Telltale Heart. I've got a couple of other podcasters that are involved with it. And then my friend Sabina, who reads a Halloween poem at the end. But it's stylized after the 60s, 70s specials on network TV that were Halloween specials at that time that were kind of cheesy and fun. And then kind of probably have at least 4 to 5 more episodes throughout the rest of the year, closing out the year until we take a small break, and then we'll come back again. But I've been lucky enough to have really wonderful, talented performers that want to work with me. And I try to write, for the most part, I've written almost all the episodes so far, save for one, which is going to come out later that someone else written, which is really good. But yeah, man, it's been, for me, I love the audio medium of trying to tell a story, and lucky enough that the people that have listened to the show have really enjoyed it so far. So
yeah, I gotta say, like the quality of the voice acting you're getting is really, really good. And the Foley work and the music, like everything just works. It clicks. Everything is just like, it's atmosphere at 10. Like it's really, really effective. And that's what really drew me in. Like, yeah, I love an anthology. I love something I can, jump in and jump out of. I don't have to have like a huge commitment to. And then for the quality of that to be super high, just is remarkable, because you have to have, you have to find people that are good for every episode. I don't know how many holdovers you have, like episode to episode, but it always sounds like you have fresh voices and everybody is like really, really putting in the work.
Yeah, I mean, I try like classic anthology to not repeat my voices very often, and I want to really make it sound fresh and really tailor the episodes to people's voices. I think is the big thing because I really want them to sound like my buddy Dominic, who does the pilot episode Bullet. He originally read for Tony Soprano's character for The Sopranos, and
Oh wow.
Yeah, he really is that type of voice. Like he really can.
As he had that voice like that. Yeah.
I got like major I can see like Joe Pesci doing like the movie version of this kind of vibe.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, he that Bullet that episode was because I love The Sopranos, but I was like, what would an episode of The Sopranos be like if Paulie saw a ghost? That's how I thought about it. And I thought this will be fun. And so I just like that, and then with Leviathan, Sarah Booth is one of our producers, Gavin Booth's wife, and she's a phenomenal actor, and she was just in Three Pines, which was on Amazon, and it's with oh my God, it's with Alfred Molina. So she played the supporting role in that. She's so good in that.
Was Leviathan,
my buddy Matt.
Was Leviathan the space one? Yeah.
Space one, yeah. And that's and then thank you to Frank Welker for saying I love the EC style episode art. Yeah, man, that's 100% the vibe we're going for. And my buddy Matt Catanzano, who was in First Date, he's such a great horror creative. And then Toothless, my buddy, the guy I'm helping produce me too, Jonathan, helped craft that story. That was originally a short of his that he wanted to then adapt into audio, so we did that. And then
I love that.
Yeah, that one I think that one is really Tales from the Crypt Deep for the ending. And then with Till Death, my buddy Jamie, who's worked with me on a couple of those table reads, she was so great in that. And then the latest episode we did, Bump in the Night, I had my buddy Mark Redfield, who's actually in the new Mike Flanagan show,
Fall
of the House of Usher.
I watched the first episode of that last night. It was really fucking good.
Yeah, I want to watch that.
I'm really excited to dive into that. I know it just premiered, and he's in a couple of episodes as a small bit part. He is such an incredible voice actor. And so yeah, I really feel privileged to work with the amount of incredibly talented people that I work with. I love them, and they always trust me with their time, and they just I do my best to craft stories that hopefully they'll say, oh yeah, I'm game to voice this. So
that's really awesome. Like the fact that you have people that are willing to work with you in this podcasts are everywhere, but like the audio drama part of it is, I think, starting to flourish, because for a long time a podcast was basically just a talk show. Like it's kind of what we do here, but audio dramas are really starting to take off. And you had like the Marvel shows and things like that, but you also have like a big one right now is was it Patient 68?
I was going to say too that the new
K68.
The newest one they just released it on Audible is Slayers, and it's all about it has most of the cast from Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
There was a lot of stuff going on with that this weekend in New York.
Yeah.
When we were leaving yesterday, they had an entire cheer squad like out in front of one of one of the entrances, like doing like a Slayers thing. Like they all had Slayers like cheer uniforms on.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like you're getting shows that have like Oscar Isaacs and Julianne Moore in them, like as your main characters, and then they're producing them as well. So like it's turning into a high stakes game.
No, I think the deal with audio dramas and people are slowly starting to realize it in the past 3 to 5 years is that it's way less expensive than doing a film or a TV show.
Yeah.
And if you get, like we had Archive 81 that got adapted obviously into a Netflix show because of that audio drama. But I mean, you have some just absolutely killer ones. I mean, you have Old Gods of Appalachia. You've got
fantastic.
You've got the Magnus,
Magnus Archives.
I mean, Yeah, I mean, there's some audio dramas that are legitimately hugely popular things and entities, and for me, I just look at like while I love what No Sleep does as like kind of its own kind of anthology thing,
Hmm.
I felt like there was a big void of like not getting my type of anthology, which is I want a Tales from the Crypt, I want a host, I want like the kind of the really deranged, fucked up black humor mixed in with like really solid acting, mixed in with like really solid storytelling. And
Yeah.
that was one of the things for me. I was like, I just looked around and I said, I don't really know if there's much out there for me. So I was like, I think I just need to do my own. So.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of shows out there right now that kind of touch on that, but nothing as like wearing its influence on its sleeve the way your horror show does. And I appreciate that about it because it's not afraid to be like, this is what I love, this is my influence, here's my interpretation of it. Where you get a lot of other shows that are like, you can tell that they're influenced by a thing, but they're trying to like shy away and be so drastically different that it doesn't have that same like panache. So you're looking for that nostalgia hit, and you get that with your horror show. If you're a giant Tales from the Crypt fan, or Tales from the Dark Side, or the Creep Show stuff, like there's that level. I'm using this word as respectfully as I can. There's a level of cheese that goes along with it that really is in the DNA of the source material and the inspiration, and it comes through in like a really fantastic way.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, and I take zero offense to that. I believe me when I say I like to, I don't. Again, like we were talking about, there's some essence of I just want the stories to be fun, and I want them to be something that people go, oh, this is. I enjoy listening to this, and I can totally tell where the influence is coming from, and I understand where you're going with this, and I don't. And again, it's like it's not that I think that when I look at a movie like Trick or Treat, like we're talking about this whole episode, I just think they did what I want to do, which is they crafted a story that they say, great, we're going to tell really good stories, we're going to get really good actors, there's going to be a certain level of cheese with this, but it's all going to be played very fun, very straight, I just that's the type of stories I absolutely love to tell. And so I just don't think there's enough of it on the market because horror has become so serious that like we kind of devolve into this place where it's like, well, it has to all mean something and have this depth. And I'm like, I'm not saying that it doesn't, and that great horror doesn't have that. It does always, but there also is still the fun factor associated with any of this stuff most of the time.
Yeah, it's exactly what we need right now. It's like there's so much, like I was saying before, there's so much elevated horror, which is fine and respectable, and they're treating it as an art form, which is, rightfully so. They're artists, they're making their art, it's whatever. Not exactly what we need right now.
Again, there's just so much of it. That's my thing. It's like if we didn't have that much of it, I could say, yeah, great. But now it's devolved. It's gone from the pendulum always does. I feel like swing back and forth through time.
Yeah.
Where we go, oh, we're at a really, very serious horror, and then we swing back to kind of comedic or more like kind of fun horror, and then it swings back again. At a certain point. So.
Yep. It's like the 80s were inundated with slasher movies and things like that, and I'm sure people got bored with that, and then they progressed to the point where we're at now. I think we need a regression. We need dumb fun. We need big monsters that are full of gore. We just don't get it.
And again, I love anthology. Like anthology to me is just kind of, there's something so special about it. I always, and maybe it's my nostalgia, but I associate so much of what horror is through anthology and what it kind of represents for the horror genre, which is quick little bites of fun, kind of camp and like pulp, and like this idea of like you reading a comic when you're not supposed to be reading it at night, you watching a horror movie on late at night and you're under the covers. I remember watching what's it called, the The Last Drive-In, but when Joe Bob was doing the other monster show. Watching that on TNT and like, later. And again, there's all this element of like watching these stories is so it gives you a certain element of it, and I really want to inject that into the show and kind of like have that be kind of the element, hopefully, that people, when they listen to it, they're like, oh yeah, this is it's well produced, it's fun, and it's exactly what I would hope to be getting with something like this.
Yeah, it definitely lands. How long did it take you to develop your narrator like personality, the Mr. Graves aspect of it, or was it just kind of like this will work, throw on some attitude?
It's funny because I'll send you guys it. Maybe when we get off at some point, I'll send you guys a link of the makeup work that we did with the shorts, because like we didn't have a name for this character yet when we did those, and we just kind of like presented it. And looking in hindsight, I was like, oh yeah, we need a name for this character. We need something to bring it to life. But I think I for me, what I tried to blend in was kind of a little bit of sophistication of Rod Serling mixed in with the kind of maniacal, kind of comedic aspect of the Crypt Keeper, and kind of melding those two characters together. But I'm like, you have to have a laugh of some sort, because like Vincent Price and like all of these great horror icons, they've all had like one type of like laugh or kind of sinister thing that they do that really makes you remember, like, oh right, yeah, they do that, and that's fun, and like that's what is like the kind of like trademark essence of a character,
Mm-hmm.
Trying to think if there's any other questions I have. I'm still like exhausted for like this past couple of days.
Yeah. How was New York Comic Con?
I will talk about the con a little bit. It was fun, man. It is the one show that I still go to, like at least partially as a fan, not like 100% business.
Yeah.
So it is nice to like, oh, you don't have to worry about a table. Like, if I'm away from the table for a while, like, what do I have? Like, am I doing on a panel in a couple minutes? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So it is very nice.
You just kind of enjoy yourself.
Yeah, and like it's one of the, again, doing cons as often as we do, it's one of the few places where I can still like see things that I know are gonna like wow me. Like, okay, wow, that's something I haven't seen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, saw some awesome stuff. I saw so many like NECA horror figures that I wanted to buy.
Oh yeah.
Like they had the classic Dracula one that I wanted. Like that was like $45. I'm like,
that's not so bad though. That's almost retail.
They had some of the ones that they're coming out with like on display. Like there's another accessory set coming out for the Frankenstein one that we have.
Oh, nice.
And it's like another like lab table, but it's more like kind of like there's equipment and like it looks.
I'm curious. What's your favorite Universal horror film?
For me, like. It's close. I mean, like for me, Frankenstein's up there, and like I'm gonna have to go with Dracula as like probably this next one. Like they're pretty neck and neck for me.
My favorite Universal monster is Frankenstein. Like it's my favorite monster, just bar none, across the board. I will say that Bride of Frankenstein is a better film than Frankenstein.
Yeah, I could see that.
100%. 100%.
So probably Bride of Frankenstein. It's funny.
I recently rewatched Son of Frankenstein, and I was like, man, this is great. I forgot how good Son of Frankenstein was.
It is really good. It's a little...
Is that the one with Bela Lugosi?
It feels a little longer than the normal ones. I think it's like 20 minutes longer than some of the other ones. Like,
yeah.
It has a little bit more length, but it's funny because, I rewatch Young Frankenstein every year, and it feels like they borrowed more from Son of Frankenstein than they did any other film.
We actually talked about this the other week, but like, the wooden arm, all that stuff. That was all, Son of Frankenstein yanked. Kind of the plot of Young Frankenstein is mostly Son of Frankenstein.
Yeah, totally. And again, I love Bella as Igor, and like that's such a fun character. And it was really great. I was talking to somebody last night too, because I rewatched Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman, and I watched Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein.
It's a well-crafted horror comedy.
Well, and it's so funny because Abbott and Costello hated that movie. I mean, they hated working on it. They thought the script was terrible.
Really?
And I'm like looking at it back then, and I'm like, man, this is like the MCU. This was like the first thing ever to do this crossover thing.
Yeah. Other than like the old like variety shows, I guess.
Oh yeah. They have like Bela Lugosi show up in a coffin or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I saw like they had a couple of the like Creature from Black Lagoon ones that they're coming out with. It looks so awesome.
Nice.
They had every one except the fucking one that I was looking for of the turtles like crossover with the monsters.
Which one didn't? Wait, I think there's only 5 of them out now.
I saw For Sale, the Frankenstein one.
Got it.
There's April O'Neil as Bride.
Got it.
Casey Jones as Phantom of the Opera. I had in my hand. And
You motherfucker!
Yeah.
I need that one.
I had it in my hand.
Oh my god.
That's in a shop right by me. That's actually it's a store called Blast from the Past, and they have that in there.
Oh, they're so good.
There was
those are awesome. Those are fun.
The Mummy one.
The Mummy is Michelangelo. Yeah.
Which one is Raphael's? He's Frankenstein. Right?
He's Frankenstein. I want the Splinter as Van Helsing.
That's the one I wanted. I can't find that one anywhere.
There's Donatello as the Invisible Man.
Yeah.
And Casey Jones as the Phantom.
Yeah. There's another. There's a Raphael as the Wolfman coming out too.
What?
There's another Leonardo one coming out too.
I haven't seen any of these available to buy anywhere.
Yeah, I want the Splinter as Van Helsing one so bad. I cannot find that one.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're regional. Like, you can only get them...
Maybe.
That'd be terrible.
I thought for sure I was going to find it. I found everyone but that one.
God damn.
I went to the Bandai booth. I saw some of the Godzilla stuff. It was nice, going to the display case and being like, I've got that, I've got that, I've got that, I've got that.
Yeah.
That was kind of cool. Yeah, but I mean, just I had an awesome time at Artist Alley, walked around, got some awesome art. I was going to show it off, and then I got super motivated today and actually hung it up.
Yeah.
But I got an awesome print from The Thing that's hanging up right now from Chris Schweitzer. I got an awesome Ninja Turtles print from Jim Mafood, who is one of my all-time favorite artists.
Yeah.
There's also some other prints we got a week or two ago. There's a punk rock flea market up here. We got 2 prints from Raymond Lowell. That's the King Kong and the Tentacles one, and then the Little Shop of Horror one there.
Yep.
Yeah, no, lots of awesome stuff at the con. Lots of awesome artists. I'm just exhausted. It's so exhausted.
Yeah.
Yeah, looking forward to next year already.
Being a California guy, have you gone to San Diego Comic-Con?
I went to it back when the first Spider-Man film was released, which was I believe 2002, 2003?
Yeah, 2002, I believe, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went that year till 2012, so I went 10 years straight.
Damn.
Wow.
To that, and I saw the evolution of that con from it being all about comics, which was effectively when I first went to effectively getting more and more corporate studio kind of thing.
Yeah, they basically become just pop culture cons.
Basically becoming pop culture con. Then I kind of stopped going. I didn't go as much. But I loved going to those when it did happen. I went a lot, but now I live in Burbank. I mean, I live right across the street from Warner Brothers, and so this whole area is just filled with Halloween awesomeness. And so there's plenty of great stores. We have the Mystic Museum, we've got Slashback Video, we've got Blast from the Past, which has tons and tons of Halloween just trinkets, toys, awesome horror shit.
Yeah.
And I love living in this city. It is just the best when it comes to horror.
For real. Slashback Video is one of the reasons I want to go back to Los Angeles. I haven't been in so long. Universal Horror Nights, awesome. I would love to go to that.
Yeah, we just went to Universal Horror Nights. I will say this year was pretty weak. Unfortunately, I thought in terms of its overall amazingness. I did go to an immersive haunt that my buddy JP Aulette helped produce, which was called Angel of Light, and that was at the Los Angeles Theater. and that was like an hour-long walkthrough, and it was so much fun, so awesome. So
That sounds rad. I've never been. I'm just stuck in podunk parts of New York.
We'll get there. We'll get there, man. We'll get there.
It's worth coming out, man, to do a week. And yeah, and Frank, I see Frank Welker's Dark Delicacies. Yep, I love Dark Delicacies. And he's like, and Larry's Chili Dogs. Yeah, Larry's is right there. It's always closed at like 2:00. But
I'm a Pigs fan.
Yeah,
Dark Delicacies sounds like a place where you get a goth themed sandwich.
that's it's all goth themed stuff. That there's no sandwiches, unfortunately. One of them we called like the
I don't want to go.
like the Gruben or something like that, like a goth Reuben sandwich or something.
But no, you were saying about the evolution of the con. I'm in the same boat with New York. I think I've missed like 3, maybe 4 New York Comic Cons since it started. And it started as like this show that took up like a corner of the Javits Center, to now taking up the entire Javits Center and like parts of the city, like moving outward. Like it's just this thing that's just swallowing up a good portion of New York every year, and it's so much fun. I love it so much.
Anything that's more horror, more comics, more nerd. I it's funny. I'm honestly okay with it, and like, some people get really upset. They're like, I don't want there to be more people into the thing I'm into. I'm like, no, I'm fine with more people being into what I'm into.
Yeah, I'm not
that's
into
great for me.
gatekeeping.
No, the gatekeeping aspect of all this shit is so stupid. And I'm like, look, more horror, gateway horror, more horror that people can watch, that they can get into, because they will get into all the stuff you like.
Yeah.
They will inevitably. And like, that's just going to be a better world for everybody.
Yeah.
I do like that it is mostly niche, but I will never not want more people to be into it, because the more people that are into things, the more money that they generate, the more successful they are, the more we can have. So it's like you have to be willing to share. Otherwise, you're going to starve out the industry.
And the more people that are going to find out about Big Dumb Monsters and your horror show, and like they're going to want to listen and like interact and be a part of all of this stuff. Like that's, to me, I'm like, this is inevitably a good thing for the entire industry when people can get into things. That's why I'm like, new Goosebumps show, great, sounds good. New Hocus Pocus movie, I don't, look, I might not be for me, and that's okay. But like, at least people like them and they go, I want to watch more stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to kind of break it down, like, not necessarily by category, but like, there's your hardcore horror fans who are into all the underground, the grindhouse, all the really hard to get stuff, and then there are the people that are into just casual fans, the people that like Hocus Pocus, like, it's been a staple of their childhood. They're into that. That's my wife. She doesn't like all the crazy monsters and blood and gore and shit that I love, but I can see that she's like, she'll occasionally attempt it and it's not for her, but she's willing to try. So I'm willing to go like, okay, well, you have that, you have your Hocus Pocus shit, and I'll buy you those toys, because that gets you what you want, and it kind of keeps the cycle moving. But man, do I miss the hunt for a movie that nobody has, because it was not popular at all. Like scouring the movie markets and stuff like that.
You really need to come to LA then, because you need to go Amoeba. That's the holy grail right there, man. Is going to Amoeba and just walking through the amount of amazing DVDs that place has. It's fucking awesome. So.
Yeah, they do a series. Well, they were doing it for a long time. I don't know if they still do. It was called What's in My Bag. And they have celebrities coming through, and like just like a famous musician, and what are they gonna buy? What records are they interested in? And like, it's crazy. You get these guys who are in like Slayer, and they're buying like jazz records and shit.
Yeah.
Fucking amazing.
I love it. I know. I went there the other day and I bought a Dawn of the Dead collector's edition DVD set of the original Dawn of the Dead film, and then I bought there was another film called Channel 13, which is a horror anthology I've never seen, and then the last one was, oh god, what was the last one? Oh, I got a Mystery Science Theater 3000 DVD set, which had Merlin, Time Chasers.
I know that set.
Yeah.
Time Chasers.
It was that was the creme de la creme set of just like great episodes. I mean,
is that
Merlin
the one that had
for me is,
Manos?
like, no, it doesn't have Manos. I have it here, but it says it's Merlin, Time Chasers, and there's one more other great Mike one that's on there that I'm like, my God, this is just a killer set.
It's not Mitchell, is it?
No, it's not.
That's
What
another
was
classic
it? It was
episode.
one other movie. But anyway, Merlin for me though is top 5. I mean that is just one of the greatest episodes of that show. So
Time Chasers is the one with like Brit Slam Fist. Like,
yeah. Well, he's got the guy with the huge chin in it. Yeah, and he's like, I'm Bob Evil. Yeah, when he comes out.
Blast hard cheese.
I think my favorite one was the Horrors of Spider Island.
Yeah.
Because every time one of the women would show up, it was like, the Horrors of Spider Island.
My ultimate favorite episode of that show, though, and I'm so glad we can talk about this because I will always talk about it, is The Undead, the Roger Corman film that they do. And it is fucking terrible. It makes no sense. But the end of the show has like the best skit ever where it's Bobo like making himself a sandwich, and he's like talking to himself as he's putting on like copious amounts of mayo and like all this little gross shit on his sandwich. And at the very end, he's like thinks that this is roast beef, but it's really Brain Guy's head, and so he starts chopping it. And then the Brain Guy, you can hear him like like in the background, like hurting. It's hilarious, and I laugh. Every time I take an edible, I watch that episode and I just cackle. So yeah, it's great.
God damn it! That show was so good.
Yeah, they were like.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna say because of the Mitchell episodes. I
love the new season that they did. The new season that they did of it was great.
Yeah, I liked it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah,
it was missing a little bit of the charm, I think, because it didn't feel like a public access television show anymore. But
the episode I loved was when they did Munchie. I loved Munchie.
Yes.
I thought that one was fucking great.
Yeah.
I mean, just a horrible movie. I mean, god awful.
Yeah.
So.
God damn it.
We've been talking for just about 2.5 hours, so it's probably a good place to wrap this up.
Hasn't felt like that.
No, it just blew by. Yeah, thank you so much for stopping by and talking with us, man.
Are you kidding me, man? This was great. You guys are awesome. This was so much fun. I absolutely love chatting it up about this, and thank you so much for just supporting the show and listening to the show. It really means a lot.
Yeah, thank you for being on. We would love to have you back again.
Let's do it.
This has been like the most fun.
Tell everybody where they can get the show, where they can get at you on social media and all that.
100%. Yeah, Your Horror Show is on all podcast platforms right now. So Spotify, Apple, Podcast Addict, Overcast, wherever you get your show. We currently have 6 episodes out. I'm sure by the time this episode releases, we'll have our 7th episode out this week, our Halloween special. And then, we'll have at least probably 3 to 5 more episodes out this year before we take a little break and then get back into it again. So
excellent.
Awesome. Let's give our socials.
All right, we will give our socials. Our website is www.bigdumbmonsterspodcast.com, but if you're way too lazy for that, it's also www.bigdumbmonsters.com. Our TV turned off. Weird. We are on Facebook. If you want to find us on Facebook, it is Big Dumb Monsters Pod. If you have any suggestions for the show, suggestions for beers that we should drink, guests that you would like to see on the show, you go ahead and email us at bigdumbmonsters@gmail.com. Let's see, what else do we have? We are on Slasher, the all horror social network. It's a great place to be. We are Big Dumb Monsters Podcast. You can find us on Steam occasionally. Sometimes we play video games on there. Big Dumb Monsters. And
you can find us on Instagram. I'll take it from there.
Yeah, that's my last one.
Yeah. You can find us on Instagram and Threads at big_dumb_monsters. If you are not watching the show live, you can always catch us live, usually every Saturday night on Twitch at twitch.tv/bigdumbmonsters. You can also check us out on YouTube at Big Dumb Monsters. Be sure to like some videos, come subscribe to the channel. You can also stop by our merch store on TeePublic. Stop by the Big Dumb Monster store. And that's going to do it for our socials.
Yeah, we will leave you with our weekly words of wisdom. Do not let ghoulies eat your ass.
And never sleep in the deathbed.
Bye-bye.